many of you.
Wow, I didn't know LA. I didn't know LA is that old.
Yeah, it's like just huge.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah,
Not even know the places like that exist.
yeah, it's a national and city landmark.
Okay, so welcome everybody. Good morning. Um, so this Thursday 10 a.m. class is really just about questions for you guys and how to increase your business. And a lot of increasing your business is going to be handling objections. Everything, I mean, I'm talking to some agents in the office that are doing a lot of deals right now. And it's just, they have their foot on the gas and they're just going for it. And it's really quite, it's good to see that, people have their foot on the gas. You have to think big, right? So so I went on command and I was looking for objection handling because that's the title of this class, objection handling. And here's an agent that is doing business. So we'll watch this video. I'm going to skip ahead and to where he gets into objection handling, but I think it's good to hear from someone who is on the phone every single day and handling objections every single day. Someone who's getting a lot of listings is an expert objection handler because they are able to get a signature on a listing agreement. I mean, basically, right? We were talking yesterday about going for a listing appointment and not walking out until the listing signed, right? So that's all about conquering every objection, being able to answer any objection that comes up in real time. And the goal for us is to just practice. There's only so many questions that can come up in this business. We do the same thing over and over and over. We list houses, we sell houses. That's what we do. And it's the same questions or fears from a buyer or seller over and over and over again. And we need to read all the scripts and dialogues. So I have the folder scripts and dialogues. There's tons of scripts and dialogues here on command. So when you log into agent.kw.com, that'll take you to command, but it'll also take you to connect. And connect is our education portion. And there's lots of agents all over the United States that have posted videos. There's a major classroom is our headquarters in Austin. So we're based in Austin, Texas, and there's a huge training facility in Austin. It's really nice. I'm sure everyone will get there at some time. But the agents that are in the Austin office are really top level. These guys are just hammering it out every single day. So if you study these scripts and dialogues and practice with friends, family, you already know how you're going to handle every question that's going to come up before it comes up, right? And the more you practice it, you just internalize it. It just comes so naturally to you. But like I look at this guy that we're going to see right now, and I think about how many calls that he's made. You're going to hear. I mean, there's nothing anyone could ever bring up that he's not prepared to talk about. Let's get a little intro and then we'll zoom ahead to good stuff. I hope that this works. Okay, so
Turn it up a little bit.
Volume up here. Okay, yeah.
All right, since you had the last session with Jason Abrams, we're here now. My name's Matt Teeter. I'm the Director of Leadership Coaching with Matt's Coaching. And this conversation is not about me. It's all about Brendan. Brendan, we're so excited to have you and to talk about overcoming objections in outbound lead generation. And so we'd love to learn a little bit more about who you are, a little bit of your background. And so if you could just introduce yourself, let's start there.
Yeah, so Brendan Barnick, Keller Williams Real Estate here in Denver, Colorado. Currently, been selling real estate about 18 years. My passion is.
I just want to point out, Denver, Colorado has a lot of rain. Okay, here in California, when it's raining, no one can use your house. So just understand, if you're living in a place like Denver, you know, maybe a third of the year it's raining. I don't know how often, but a lot. So.
So really excited to share some tips and dialogue today with action items that I think will help you, you know, be able to get in the door and or get some good relationships happening here. But so to kind of put it into easy numbers, I've been on over 2,500 listing appointments throughout my career. I've made over 50,000 contacts, meaning conversations about buying or selling real estate over the phone. I have a real estate team of about 14 agents here. We've got ISAs, an amazing operational staff.
ISAs
Closed about 130 million last year, and yeah, excited to help everyone today, and you know, whatever I can to help.
Brennan, that's an impressive introduction. And so since you've been in the business since 2002, what we're facing in the current market and the environment is something that not in the exact case, and yet in a shift that you faced before. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes, this is very unique, but
it's getting into the meat and potatoes here.
For me, let's just jump into, you said there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's what we should be looking at to start. And you started that list with mindset. Can you go through those 4 items and take some time walking through, you know, as if we were a member of your team, so to speak, right? How do we look at this market today? You know, maybe it's the conversation you had this morning with your team. It probably is, right, over the past couple of days. Starts with mindset. How do we start?
So it all starts with $1 million mindset. So when I think about that, it means is the value before I get on this phone and I make a call to a possible buyer and or seller or my center of influence, am I delivering $1 million experience to them? And so whether that's affirmations, and it needs to be affirmations before you get on the phone. So look, I'm about to deliver $1 million experience to the next person that answers the phone. I'm going to deliver $1 million experience. And so you have to buy into if you don't believe in your value, you don't believe that right now you can help these people during this turbulent time, then they're not going to believe it. So it all comes from that mindset of internalizing, look, I'm going to deliver an experience unlike anyone else in the market. And I know I can guide you to safety and or financial success.
Yeah, and with a partner like yourself, right, the confidence for your team members is there. And yet with what Keller Williams is doing in these sessions, right, to be able to learn from individuals like yourself, we don't have to be on Brendan's sales team. We're going to get from you right now what you're communicating with your team. We got that from Jason in a previous call, right? We're going to get it the rest of the day. So every agent in our company, with the resources we have as an organization and this content, can get into that mindset to take action. So the next step would be what?
Well, the next step, well, going back to that first one just for a second more, is make sure we use we, right? If you're not on a big team or any of this, use Keller Williams as your $1 million value proposition to your clients and get very comfortable with the stats and the agents and the countries and how many referrals we get, and use that value prop to really communicate that. And then number 2, to make sure that we're communicating this at the highest level, you have to be committed to role play and you have to practice with passion, right? So role play every day. So here at our office, we have live role play every single day. Now we're doubling down on that. We're going to have even additional sessions on role play to practice these scripts, these dialogues, these conversations that you're going to have with potential consumers, and just conversations of having with your center of influence, right? Really making sure that you can dial in that conversation. Like Gary said yesterday, hey, John, it's Brendan. I just wanted to check in and see how you're doing. How are things going, right? Now, that's an easy opening script, but then that goes down a rabbit hole of different things that could be, said during that conversation. So the only way we're going to be prepared for those questions is to practice them, right? We've got to role play and practice at a level we never have in the past.
Okay, so if we get into the mindset, I love this so far, right? We're keeping it simple. We have the mindset to be able to win, right? We have the $1 million mindset. Now we're role playing. Now it's another time of day. We're practicing with passion. We're getting ready. Where do we go next? What's the, you talked about the relationship. You talked about now and in the future. Talk to us about that.
That's exactly right. So now when you're outbound lead generation, whether you are safety door knocking or however you're connecting with your clients, it's not about right this second. It's about being here now. It's about being here in a month. It's about being here in 4 months. It's about being there in 10 months. And so you have to start looking at the long play. And that's hard for a lot of people in lead generation because they want that quick boom, boom, boom. That's not what we're really trying to do. Of course, you are going to get those. There are people out there right now that have to sell and have to buy. Guaranteed, they are out there waiting for you to talk to them. But also, we want to look at the long play because we know that most sales happen on an 80% increase from the 8th to 10th contact, right? So if you're looking at lead generation and you really want to do this at a high level, you're looking at the long-term game, not just the one call I'm going to make today. It's going to be who's there in 8 months that's going to have massive success. But it starts with that first check-in call today.
Yeah. Okay. So many important things there. It's a focus on the now and connecting and building a relationship to be able to be in business in the future. We know that some people we're going to find them motivated. We have that shift tactic, right? We're finding them motivated now and we're building the relationship with our database for the future, right? And 80% of people convert on the 8th or 10th contact. And unless you're calling them 8 or 10 times in a day, that's going to be somewhere in the future, right? So that's going to be extended over a period of time. Okay, so we've got mindset, we've got role play, we've got build the relationship now and in the future. And the fourth thing that you said, again, so aligned with what Gary sent to us, you told me that you got to come from the heart. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean that we have to right now make sure that anyone we're talking to knows that we care, right? Not only care about their financial situation, but their overall safety. So when you're talking to a potential seller, we now have to learn how to communicate by practicing things on explaining how we're still going to be able to get your house sold, but we're going to be adding more value and more protection, whether that's gloves at the property before they enter the property, whether that's whatever you're going to have to do to create a now safer selling experience. We're going to come from first a place of caring. And I always say this, we need to be empathetic, not apologetic. We didn't create this situation. I've been having, unfortunately, some conversations with agents that are getting very into their head about, oh my gosh, I have to apologize that this has happened and how are we going to get through this deal? You didn't cause this. This is not your fault. There's a lot of situations that happen. You're a consultant in this situation that's going to provide your client with fantastic options on how to get them through this as best as possible.
Yeah.
So you have to start with care, you have to start with the heart, and you just have to be very, very sincere about, I'm here. So Mr. Seller, if you don't want to do anything right now, that's okay. I understand that. Let's take a look at the options of what that's going to cause down the road. That's what we have. Not if you don't sell now, it's a problem. If you don't buy now, all this. We understand that. One thing that Keller Williams knows is again, we were built for this. We were built for making sure that we take care of our internal people and that we take care of our clients. So yeah, we're better positioned than anyone else on the planet right now to having this conversation.
So mindset, role play, build a relationship, come from heart. You said something so powerful. You said, be empathetic, not apologetic. We didn't create the situation. We're here to guide and partner with people through the situation with our clients, right? What's also interesting about that is you've talked about how much you're going to connect with the people that you're doing business with, how much you're going to communicate with them throughout the process, right? And the value that you're going to add to them as an agent, right? To be able to take those steps and build a relationship into the future. And that's going to be that future business that you're going to create when we get to a point where we have a stabilization and a normalization of the markets that we're in, right? So that was go ahead.
And now time to double down and just think for 4 hours of lead generation. Right now, people are putting their heads in the sand. This is the best possible time in the history of lead generation Because you know people are home.
Yeah.
They're home right now. They're going to answer the phone and they're concerned, they're scared, they need you. Some of them are just darn bored and they want to be able to talk to somebody. So what better time for anyone in a business that's serious about lead generation to connect with people right now and build a database that is going to pay you off, that's going to pay, dividends in the future. And again, deliver value, just deliver value.
Yeah, we think about the story that Gary's told about that client that kind of gave him that reinvigorated his business, that jump-started his business again, right? And he says he'll never forget that client because they made that call. I believe it was on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, and he made that decision. He took the client and restarted his business. It jump-started in that challenging environment. And so these won't just be the people that you connect with right at this time and that you do business in the future. They're also going to probably be some of the longest standing relationships of your business career and possibly your personal relationships with how you partner with people in this challenging time.
Again, as long as you have to come from a place of care and empathy. That's the one thing. I see a lot of people that are just calling and going through the ropes. Mm-hmm. So, hey, I'm calling my database. Hey, how you guys doing? No, that's not it. You cannot go by or figure out how to sound sincere. First of all, be sincere. Second of all, some of us need to practice on how to sound sincere. Come from a true place of what can I do to help, or do you just want to talk? Right? That's the real game changer. And then again, you'll have that long-term relationship that will turn into business, guaranteed. And it's always time tested.
Okay, you're talking about what to say. And so we've covered these 4 steps, and then you said that you had 4 scripts. Essentially, we're making these outbound calls, and there's 4 common objections, right? That you said that your ISA is hearing, that we're going to hear likely at this time, and then how do we handle them? So can you run through those objections and then what the scripts would be to handle those objections when you hear it?
Yes, absolutely. So they are, should I wait to sell? Right. So right now we're hearing that title, quite a bit. I'm going to go through that objection. Should I wait to buy? Yeah. The other 2 are very similar, but they are very different. I'm going to wait to sell. I'm going to wait to buy. So 2 are questions and 2 are statements. Similar objection handlers for both, but I'll take you through it. So should I wait to sell? So great question, Matt. So let me ask you, if it was the perfect situation, when would you like to have your home sold, and when would you like to be in your new home? You would say, as soon as possible, or in a month, whatever it is. Great. So Matt, we have 2 things that we need to consider right now. Number 1, we can't sell your home if it's not on the market. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, that's true.
And number 2, if we wait, the problem that we have is so is your competition. So when the dust finally settles, there's going to be a flood of homes hitting the market, driving prices down. Now, Matt, you do want to get the most money possible for the home, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, of course you do. So exactly. So that's exactly why I know we should meet. I'll be in your neighborhood this afternoon today at 4, or would tomorrow at 2 work better? That's it.
Yeah, great. That's it.
That's the script. So you've got to first identify what's the perfect situation for you. Get them thinking back to, if we wait, the problem that we have is so is your competition. So when the dust finally settles, if it was the perfect situation, when would you like to have your home sold, and when would you like to be in your new home? You would say, as soon as possible, or in a month, whatever it is. Great. So Matt, we have 2 things that we need to consider right now. Number 1, we can't sell your home if it's not on the market. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, that's true.
And number 2, if we wait, the problem that we have is so is your competition. So when the dust finally settles, there's going to be a flood of homes hitting the market, driving prices down. Now, Matt, you do want to get the most money possible for the home, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, of course you do. So exactly. So that's exactly why I know we should meet. I'll be in your neighborhood this afternoon today at 4, or would tomorrow at 2 work better for you? That's it.
Yeah, great. That's it.
That's the script. So you've got to first identify what's the perfect situation for you. Get them thinking back to that. This is a very important piece of scripts and dialogues is let's focus on the positive. Forget what's happening out over here and over here. Matt, if it was the perfect situation for you, Matt, when would you like to have the home sold? And when would you like to be in your new home? Then we really just have to talk about two other points, which is can't sell if it's not on the market. And number two, if we wait, A, we don't know what's going to happen. And B, we know that one thing's for sure, a lot of people are going to wait. And when the dust settles, they're going to flood the market when they come back. So if you can get across those two logical points to a seller and make them understand, the rest of it for the seller objections is going to be completely explaining to them how we can still sell this and be safe, right? So the other piece we got to talk about is, okay, how are we going to be safe in doing this? That needs to all happen at the appointment. And I can, if you want to call me outside of this, I can explain them how to do that. That's a separate conversation. But again, this is to get you in the door, right? Okay. That's to get in the door. So
right. or onto the Zoom call. Right, or into the digital door, right, or the remote door, right, as well.
So one of our generation buckets right now would be trying to call any person that you know that's a landlord and talking to them about their current portfolio. And most of them, and a lot of people are going to be out of state, out of the area. With the current market situation, is now the time to sell at the peak before we know what's could possibly happen, and then save your money and then buy when the markets hit low. That's a great call to make to what I call a rent buy owner, right? So yes, tons of opportunity right now.
So Brendan, we could do this all day, and yet we got to get 3 more scripts. Should I wait to buy? Let's hear it.
Yeah, so should I wait to buy? So this is going to sound very similar. So great question, Matt. So let me ask you, if it was the perfect situation, when would you like to buy your new home? And when would you like to be in the home? Now, they're going to say, in a month, my lease ends in 2 months, whatever the time frame is. Great, Matt. So 2 things to consider right now that we need to think about. Every day you don't own your own home, you're making somebody else rich. Right now, you don't own that home, you're making someone else rich. And the longer you wait, the more rich you're going to make them, right? Because you're paying off their mortgage. Second point is, one of the things that we don't know right now is rates are at a historic low, meaning that your mortgage right now is probably, if not the cheapest, the cheapest that it's ever going to be for you to own and borrow money for the foreseeable future. So there's 2 major points right there that are going to be very, very impactful if you decide to buy now instead of waiting. So the question that I would have to ask you, Matt, is, do you want to keep making someone else rich by paying down their mortgage? And do you want to lock in a historically low mortgage rate that's going to save you for 30 years to come?
Great questions. So what if I said to you, I'm going to wait to sell?
So if you're going to wait to sell, it comes back to the same question, at what risk? So the problem with that is so is your competition. So come in a few months when the dust settles, there's going to be a flood of properties hitting the market, driving prices down. Right now, we know that, but one thing we do know right now, Matt, is that if you're on the market, and we're again the pure panic hasn't hit yet, that buyers still need to buy, and you're still in an opportunity to be one of the few sellers out there that's available to sell. Now, the other thing that's been coming up is we might have to think smarter about a few things. Now, we have sellers that we're putting in Airbnb so that they don't have to be in the house. We're putting people, there's situations that we can accommodate to make sure we don't put anybody at risk, but we got to be thinking a lot smarter on that. So the answer is not if you can't wait. The answer, or I'm going to wait. It is if you wait. I appreciate that. At what cost?
Okay, I'm going to wait to buy.
So again, going back to that same principle, you're going to wait to buy. The concern that I have is that, again, right now, every month that you wait, you're making someone else rich. And again, number 2 is we don't know what's going to happen in the markets, and you're never going to have an opportunity to keep money like this for the next 30 years. That can affect your payment by $500 to $600, depending upon these mortgage rates, over the course of 30 years. Right now, the one thing we do know is you can lock into that this second. So let's get into some homes. Let's find you your perfect home and stop making some other guy rich off your money.
So 18 years of experience, right? You're with your team this morning. You've done 2,500 listing appointments, over 50,000 contacts. We ran through 1, 2, 3, 4 quickly, and you know exactly what to say. And that's that practice with passion. You told us it's about mindset, role play, building a relationship, and coming from the heart. We covered 4 objections. Should I wait to sell? Should I wait to buy? I'm going to wait to sell. I'm going to wait to buy. Tie a knot on it for us, Brendan. Tell us, right? What's the takeaway with all of this? How do we move forward?
The takeaway is the first phone call is the heaviest phone call of the day. Pick up the phone, make the call, and start immediately. And then be around people that are positive and that are energized to do this. One of the things I wanted to offer is if you get off this call and you want my full script book that have these scripts in all of my scripts, just email me at brendanbardick@kw.com. I will make sure that every single person gets them. And then start finding a role play partner, create a role play group. Get really, really passionate about conversations. So when you hit the phone, you're so freaking excited to talk to people. They're excited for you to come over, or they're excited to get on a Zoom call with you. Right now, they want to work with passionate people that want to help them through the situation. You need to be that person.
Brendan, thank you so much. We appreciate it. You nailed it. Thank you, Keller Williams. We're going to keep going. We'll talk to you very soon. Thanks, Brendan.
Teacher, this one is being recorded.
This class is being recorded, but if you go to agent.kw.com, that takes you to command. And
then connect to.
then you click on connect.
Oh, okay.
When you click on connect up here, it takes you to our education portal. So I searched connect for objections. And
The website again, agent.kw.
agent.kw.com.
What was the name of the video that you were making?
So if you search, I don't know what's going. Objection. So I went to agent.kw.com, then command, and I clicked on connect. And in the connect portal, I searched for objection handling. I don't know why
Yeah.
it's working.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff here. I mean, there's KW University courses, classroom. There's tons of stuff here, man. Market of the moment. So there's plenty of stuff to work on here. All right, so takeaways from that. So basically, he's just saying the same thing over and over and over again with every single person he's calling. And he's a listing machine. He did $120 million a year during COVID. Nothing was going on. Right. So he's got 14 people just making calls and working for him. So he mentioned the word ISA. So an ISA is an inside sales agent. That's like really the most important part of your business.
Yeah.
So your daily prospecting, and he was talking about a 4 hour a day of lead generation. So he's on the phone 4 hours a day because he knows that's the most dollar effective spent, right? It's lead generation. So if you can do 1 hour, 2 hours, I mean, he's up to 4 hours because he knows. That's where the money is. Again, I'm talking to agents in this office who are they made their minds up that they're gonna just be in lead prospecting mode all day. They're just taking listing after listing after listing. They're freaking out right now because they can't handle, like they have to sell the listing, right? So it's pretty funny, but my response is don't take your foot off the gas.
Like they need to literally give them up.
No, like,
They have so many.
no, like, you have to have open houses, right? So there's plenty of open house opportunity for everybody here. Because there are listings coming into the office. So we have opportunities for open house. And then sellers are like, sell my house, sell my house. So the scripts and the objection handlers that teams are practicing right now that are getting listings are these, should I sell now? And then also what they're practicing are the price reductions. Because literally, if you have a listing and it's priced well, agents should be showing your property and writing offers, other agents, right? I mean, ideally, it would be amazing if you had your own buyer call you, or right, a buyer called you and said, I saw your listing, can you help me? Can I see it? All right, I don't have an agent, right, let's write an offer. That's ideal situation. Now KW has the motto, your listing, your lead. Like if a call comes into the front desk on a listing, it's gonna go to the listing agent. That's if you have a listing, that call's coming in. You're the one that can talk about the property the most. We don't have floor time. If it's your listing, it's your lead. You worked hard for that listing. So if a call comes in just asking random, then you have to talk to Josh. Talk to Josh about that. I don't know how those calls are fielded. If you want to try, you can call the front desk and see where the call gets taken. Yeah, right.
What do you mean?
Like I have a property I want to sell.
I
Who
know.
do they connect you to?
Wow.
See where it goes.
Goes right to.
Or talk to Josh. Goes right to me.
Right to Rosales.
I don't think it's about that. So talk to Josh. Talk to Josh. Those calls should go to Josh, I think. Okay, so what I took away from this guy, basically, should I wait to sell? And he's flipping it back on the seller, like what are you waiting for? What is the perfect situation in your mind that's the perfect time to sell? He's like, right now, there's not a lot of inventory on the market. And you waiting, other people are also waiting. By the time you come on the market, other people are also going to be coming on the market at the same time, and the market's going to be flooded with listings. Right now, why don't you take advantage of this time right now when there aren't a lot of other listings on the market? And to your advantage, there's going to be buyers for you. Yeah.
That sounds great. I think it's a great argument.
Yeah.
What if the market's
But the market's not flooded right now.
then just
The market's not flooded right now, and they
Same
want to
argument.
wait.
like
So the question is, we just don't know the future. It could be that a lot of people are obviously also waiting to come on the market. And then you waiting, all we know is right now.
Right.
So right now, there's not a lot of property on the market. Don't you want to be the one on the market while there's not a lot of other properties? That's the,
How do you handle the objection to the percentage? As it went from 7.7 or 7.8 the other day to 8.1.
Really?
okay, so are you a buyer or seller?
I'm a buyer.
You're a buyer, okay.
Yeah.
So interest rates,
The worst,
okay, fine. So
Yeah.
interest rates just went up to 8 and an 8,
8 1/8, okay.
8.1.
8.125.
8.1, yeah.
Okay.
Hot money.
So what are you thinking right now? Be the buyer. What are you thinking right now in your head? Interest, yeah, interest rates are at 8.
I don't want to pay that.
Okay,
But I,
Yeah.
the salesperson would say, okay, go get the best house possible.
Yeah.
Because those rates are gonna drop in the future. We don't.
we don't-
When are they gonna drop? When are they gonna drop? You get that.
so my response to you is, okay, here's the situation. Rates just went up to 8 and an 8.
Yeah.
Okay, now. Right now you're renting. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Your cost of living is gonna keep going up.
yeah.
When you buy, you're locking your cost of living at your 30-year mortgage. Whatever that payment is, you're now locking your cost of living for the next 30 years. It's really important to do that. If you find a great property, lock it in. If interest rates go down, you'll refinance. If interest rates continue to go up, you're gonna thank me very much.
Oh,
for getting
perfect.
you
Yeah.
at this current rate.
Good scenario.
right.
Let's continue to look, and when you find a great property, let's make an offer on it. Don't wait. If interest rates go down, you'll refinance.
Yeah.
With the points linked towards the lender. Points,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so you want to talk about that? Okay,
I think the other concern for a lot of people is
Yeah.
that the market is gonna crash and the investment that they made, it's like, it's gonna go tits down.
Okay,
And then the other thing is that they wanna wait until interest rates go down.
okay.
Back.
Here's my dialogue for the market's gonna crash.
Okay.
We don't know, we never know what's gonna happen with the market. Nobody has a crystal ball. Your primary residence should not be considered
investment.
an investment. It's where you live. If the market crashes, your property value will go down, as well as everyone else's property. If you wanna sell when the market is down and buy something else, you're gonna be buying while the market's down.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter where prices are when you get in, because if you sell to get into a different property, all the prices are gonna be down, or all the prices are gonna be down. So if you sell low, you're gonna buy low. If you sell when it's high, you're gonna buy when it's high. That's just how it is. But that's where you live. That's not your primary investment. And your goal is to pay off where you live as fast as you can.
100%.
Possible that the property you purchase, they end up going up in value. And then it will probably use that as leverage toward the.
Yeah.
Awesome value.
So my conversation might be different for someone who is looking as a primary residence and also someone who's an investor.
Yeah.
Right? So an investor needs to be quick. So if someone is buying an investment property, they're gonna fix and flip. I'm really focusing on quickness and timing with them. Let's, right, in and out, you gotta be quick. We don't know the market. And hopefully an investor is gonna be prepared to put the property on the market for lease. If they want top dollar and it's not selling. Otherwise, we need to have a price reduction conversation, right? Someone brought up a question about interest rate buy down.
Yeah.
Interest rate buy down. So when you guys go into CAR, there are these quick facts sheets. This one is called temporary interest rate buy downs. Rising interest rates have priced some buyers out of real estate purchase market. Some sellers and lenders have found a way to help buyers afford a home by reducing the buyer's contribution to the monthly mortgage payment by using a temporary interest rate buy down program. How does it work? So initially, a buyer's monthly mortgage payments are calculated just like a regular loan. But for the first 1, 2, or 3 years of the loan, the buyer will pay a reduced amount based on what the buyer's payments would have been if the interest rate was lower. Okay, so there is an opportunity for a seller to pay
Reduced.
some money that, that it's gonna be basically the difference between what the payment is now at this high rate and what the payments would have been at the lower rate. And then they can add that, say for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and the seller will give a credit for that amount. So lenders are doing that now. So it is something to have that discussion about. Again, we just don't know where rates are gonna be. It's called a temporary interest rate buy down. How would a buyer ask the seller for an interest rate buy down? You'd write into your offer, seller to credit buyer blank or an amount at closing to be used to buy down buyer's loan payments for the first 1, 2, or 3 years of the loan to the following equivalent interest rate. So that's the language.
So we go into CAR.
Go into CAR, you're gonna go to like quick guides, just look for quick guides, and it's called temporary interest rate buy down. And it'll give you the actual language to put in. Tells you the paragraph and everything. Any other, so so I just wanna go back to what we're, so the 4 common objections, should I wait to sell? Okay, so then he's asking the seller, what is your perfect scenario? That's always the question he's throwing back at them. What does your perfect scenario look like? It's the same thing I do when I'm talking to anyone. I'm just like, I always want to know, like when someone says to me, I'm looking for a deal.
Oh my gosh, I hate
Right? But okay, you hate the question, but you know what? I used to hate the question also. But then I started asking, what is a deal to you? Explain to me what a deal means to you. And when I started asking that question, I was hearing responses of things that I could actually find. I think I could find that. Because what I was first hearing was, I want to steal something. That was what I was first hearing when someone said, I want a deal. I was hearing, I want to steal a property. And I'm thinking to myself, you're not stealing any property in this. There's so many buyers. But then I started coming back with, what do I need to show you today that you'd write a check for? And then when that answer is answered, that's what I'm hunting for.
What's the question?
When, what do I need to show you today that you would write a check for? A deposit check. If they can't answer that, they're not a buyer. Right? Then I'm just spinning my wheels with someone who's not really a buyer. I need to know what I can show them today that they would write an offer for. And then I know if I'm wasting my time with them or not. Right? But the people saying I want a deal, it's really interesting. You're gonna find that they're giving you a description that you can actually do. Hopefully, but that's what I've found.
Or you manage those expectations in conversation.
Yeah, the more you engage someone in conversation, it's the relationship, but what I've found is all scripted dialogues are guiding a buyer and seller to the dialogue that you want to have. I find it fascinating that it's some people are very forceful when they talk, and you're afraid to like challenge thinking because they're so passionate about what they're saying. But you have to delicately guide them to where you want them to go. And I found in my conversations sometimes, but I like laugh to myself inside because some people are just so adamant about their position. And then I start asking questions and guiding them somewhere, and they actually start pushing, they ease up and they'll start thinking how I'm thinking, right? But I have to guide them there, right? So someone who thinks now's not the time to sell may be very adamant, now's not the time to sell. And they say, I understand what you're thinking. Everyone else is thinking like that also, right? And now's a time where there's no properties on the market. Change their thinking. Now's a time where there's not a lot of property on the market. There's not a lot of competition. And there's buyers out there. Don't you want to be the person who is available without other competition? Because when there's a lot of properties on the market, everyone starts reducing their prices to compete with each other, right? If there's a condo for sale in a building for 510,000, and I have an identical condo in the building, I'm going to list for 499, right? Or I want to beat them. And then what's going to happen with that guy? He's going to lower. I came out at 499. He's going to go to 489, right? It's going to be a price war. That's what happens when there's a lot of property on the market. So we don't want that scenario. No. Okay, so sellers, should I wait? No. But again, it's coming back to them and saying, in a perfect situation, what are you waiting for? And they say they're waiting for prices to sell, because they're waiting for prices to go up. So is everyone else. When prices actually do go up, everyone's going to be on the market at the same time, right? It's going to be competition.
Are there any other common scenarios that they might bring up that aren't covered in the, I'm waiting for the right market, I'm waiting for this, that you can think of or like mind?
So I'm ready for any script. I mean, ready for any dialogue, right? So because I've looked and I've read over many scripts of dialogues, and I've been in situations talking to buyers and sellers all the time. So I'm ready for any conversation that comes up. Yeah.
What I tend to get is that the sellers are also looking to buy, right? So
Yes.
the interest rate becomes too much for them. So they're in a position where they can't move because of that reason. They don't.
There will
They don't net
definitely
that
be
much.
people that can't qualify right now. There will be, but there will also be people that can. So,
Yeah, I
right?
guess it's true.
But yeah, incomes have not been keeping up with inflation, and interest rates are up, and that's just the reality. So
Yeah.
maybe it's time to sell their house in LA and move out. Something to think about. Yeah.
What if they can't do it?
What if?
Well, okay, what if they can't do it? You work with them, you find the property, the money and everything, the money just doesn't add up for them.
On the buyer sell,
Yeah, on the buyer.
on the buyer.
Yeah, and so.
They're not willing to go to a lower price.
Yeah, you want to.
They're not willing to go to a lower price range.
Right. And you want to keep them for the future.
Okay,
It's not going to happen right now.
Okay.
It might not happen for a couple of months,
Right.
but what dialogue?
so going into every single phone call,
Yeah,
he was saying, going into every call, that it's not about right now, it's not about right now business. It's about how are you right now? How's life going for you right now? And some of those people will need to buy or sell right now. Some of those people will. So if you make enough calls, you're going to get the people that need to do something right. But he is thinking that everyone is on the long game. Every single person that he calls is on the long game. It's about the relationship, right? So just, James, if I call you and I say, James, it's JJ, how are you? I'm just checking on you. How's it going? And that's it. Good. Okay, great. Just checking on, making sure everything's good. And then I call you again and I say, oh, by the way, is there anything going on in real estate in your life right this second? Anything you need to do?
no, not right now.
Okay, great. Okay, oh, it's great talking to you. Football's good. Then I call you next month. Checking in, how you doing?
Okay.
Things were good last month, good. Just checking in again, just to see where you're at. Anything new in real estate? Don't forget I'm an agent, ha ha. If you come across anyone that could use my help, I would love to help them. That's my second call. My third call, again, how's it going? Last time we talked, you were telling me about your dog. Everything good. So it's about the relationship and then catching the person at the right time. Yeah.
Is there also a dialogue for your initial call to a stranger?
Yeah.
That in some way, the dialogue that you can reach into their heart, kind of like, you've already had a relationship in the scenario we just did.
Is it a cold call?
The cold call, yeah. How can you warm that up?
So,
Saying, hi, my name's James Dean, I'm with Keller Williams in
Right.
Beverly Hills. I really care about you. You know what I mean? I don't want to go there.
so what about I care for someone else? And that's why I'm calling. So
You did well, okay.
what about I care for someone else? So,
Mm.
hi, James, JJ Wallack, Keller Williams, Beverly Hills. How you doing? I'll be really quick. I'm working with friends that I've been friends with for many, many, many years. They were interested in a house like around the corner from you. They didn't get it. And I'm just calling around the neighborhood to see if there's anyone that I could find that might be interested in selling and taking advantage of where prices are right this second. Do you think that could be you?
I really like that.
That's good. That'll work. What if it's just like a blank cold call? Yeah, total.
But there's a reason I'm calling. Why am I calling that area? There's a reason I'm calling that area. So I
Right.
want to be in that area.
So we know, so we do our homework beforehand.
Well, I'm picking an area. I'm just not calling anyone. I mean, there's a reason I'm focusing on an area. So,
Right. Farm. Mhm.
I might be talking to an agent in this office who has a client that wants to buy in large font. Okay, so I'm gonna talk to that agent and tell me more about your buyer. Okay, I don't have a buyer myself. That agent has a buyer.
Mm.
So tell me what your buyer would buy right now. They buy a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom. What's their budget? Are they pre-approved? Okay, great. I'll get back to you. And now I'm gonna go to Larchmont calling list, and I'm gonna start calling agents and people in Larchmont. Hi, James, JJ Wallack, Keller Williams, Beverly Hills. How are you today? I'll be really quick. There's a buyer in my office that's looking for a property in Larchmont. They're pulling their hair out trying to find something. Just curious if you had any thoughts about selling this year. Do you know any neighbors that you've talked to that might be? Can you take my number down and just call me if you hear anything that might come up? I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. So it's really.
Actually, I was dropping a shipment at FedEx.
You were taking something to FedEx,
No, I was dropping a shipment
dropping at FedEx.
at FedEx
Okay.
and I saw two ladies coming out with a bundle of boxes in each person's hand. I just hold the door for them. And those people that hold the boxes, they cut their hands and I handle, like I have a business, so I know that, like. So I just offered them how I can carry these boxes for you. And instantly it clicked in my mind that these guys are either moving.
Oh,
Like
that's interesting.
Either in the business or
Okay.
on the way I asked them like. Are you guys
That's so
moving?
funny.
They
That's
said
so
that
funny.
we are moving from Pasadena
That's funny.
to Fontana. And I asked that
That's
so are you
funny.
guys buying or like already bought? They said that they just moved there on lease. We look to buy. We're just checking the neighborhood. And then I introduced myself.
Good. I think you're onto something. So, you know, they say attorneys, you know, they criticize some attorneys for being ambulance chasers, right? They're chasing the ambulance to see where they can go get a client. But this is it, you're onto something. Like if you hang out at FedEx and see people shipping lots of boxes, they might be moving. Right? If you follow moving trucks.
Hey, where are they going?
But don't follow the moving truck, follow the moving truck, the moving estimator.
Yeah.
Right? Find out who the estimate guy is.
Perhaps it
and
would be
Well,
more,
put an Apple locator in.
like, perhaps it would be more beneficial to hang out outside, like a U-Haul or.
Yeah, but people that are moving are getting quotes, right? Find that guy, the guy's that's giving the quote.
There's an opportunity to like I did that.
Yeah, no, that's great, that's great. Any other objections you guys can think of? How to handle? The same buyers, sellers, so right now, you know, interest rates are high, they are creeping up, we don't know where they're gonna go. Anytime you buy, you're locking your cost of living. So it's the same conversation having there. You're locking your cost of living. If interest rates go down, you'll refinance. If they don't go down, you'll be thanking me that I, you know, pushed you to buy something right now. So, and then it's just a matter of picking up, we have to dedicate the time every day to do the prospect. So there's nothing, you know, picking up the phone and calling, it's like, but it's really not, it's just making a call just like I did with you, pretend. And it's just talking to someone, but there has to be a reason you're calling, you're not just calling to call. So you have to call with a purpose. So Josh Spitzin always reminds me to be purposeful. Be purposeful in what I'm doing. Don't just do something to do it. Be purposeful. So the purpose of my call is to get a listing appointment to get into a property if the person's open to selling. If they're open to it, get in the property. If they are interested in buying something, find out more about what they're buying, or what they're looking to buy, and why. So I want to be purposeful. I just don't want to check off, I made my 20 calls today. That's it. That was not the purpose of the call. The purpose of the call is to find a buyer or seller.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I had a call and I asked about you want to sell your house and she said yes, but I tried to sell my house, but my house it's worth it like $4 million, but I want $5 million. You can't sell like $5 million for me. What should I say to them?
That's a great question. What time can I come over and we'll talk about it? That's a listing appointment. That's a listing appointment, right? And then you'll prepare comps and a listing. Oh, here, I'm sorry.
I started passing.
So I thought I would print this out just to talk about real quick. Again, we can't give legal advice about how to hold title. This is not holding title. Because we talked a little about it yesterday.
Can the client directly talk to title or not?
And what?
Can the client talk to title directly?
Can the client?
Either buyer or seller?
Absolutely, 100%.
Oh, okay, that's what I was,
Yes.
so I said this is the title guy,
Yeah.
you know, the one.
Now, if someone calls out one of our title reps,
Right.
they are not a real estate agent. And they're gonna get limited information,
Well, do
right?
you know if Lauren is also an agent? You know that?
He's what?
Also a real estate agent? 'Cause
Lauren Goldman is not a real estate.
Oh, he's very knowledgeable.
He's very knowledgeable.
But Jerry is real estate.
Yeah, so I want to tell you a little story about Lauren. So I'm a loyal guy. Like
Yeah, Lauren is amazing.
when I started real estate, I went to my board of realtor orientation. And Brandon Miller was speaking at my orientation.
Right.
And I think I used Brandon. I started using Brandon. I was constantly using Brandon. And then Lauren would start coming to my open houses and she'd be like, JJ,
Give me, throw me
your
some,
business, throw me some business.
throw me some bones.
And I say, Lauren, I'm very loyal.
But you never used, you never used
Lauren, I'm very loyal.
You never used Lauren?
No, I'm saying this is how I
Hold
started.
on.
It's like,
Hold on.
I had tons of open houses and I was exclusive with Brandon. And he always did a great job for me. I was very happy. And Lauren would continue to come to my open house. I was like, Lauren, why do you keep coming back?
Because he loves you.
I already told you I'm loyal to Brandon, like giving him my business. And he wouldn't stop. Like he came to literally 11 or 12 open houses of mine. And I finally gave him some business.
That's good.
And then I started giving them both.
That's, yeah, give him those.
Yeah, so, but I have to tell you, persistence. I mean, that was really where I'm going with it. Persistence overcomes resistance.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, persistence overcomes resistance.
Then maybe we have to do the same thing for door knocking. Thank you.
You have to do the same for door knocking. So door knocking is
Overcomes resistance.
persistence overcomes resistance. That's my motto.
I love that.
I have two mottos.
What's the other one?
Is this a new form, JJ? This is a new form?
That's a form that's not required, but we're talking about the buyer process today. My other motto. I'll tell you what. We're being recorded.
Alright.
Okay, so let's talk about the buyer process. So again, we do the same thing over and over and over. So we are selling property as a listing. We are helping buyers buy properties. I think that I think the thing that I want you guys to have clarity on the most in the entire transaction are contingencies. I really think that is the hardest thing for people to grasp, just from my experience talking about contingencies. People seem to have a hard time grasping it, but once you get it, you're golden. And I think once you can explain contingencies, you understand the entire process. So we'll get to that in a second. So, okay, I handed out this sheet on holding title. So when a buyer gets an accepted offer, the title company is the one making sure who the seller is and who the buyer is, because they're ensuring the buyer that they actually own that property. Right, we talked about some fraud yesterday, and there are people out there that are selling property they don't own, right? And if you're buying a property from John Smith, how do you know that John Smith is not the other John Smith or the other John Smith? So title makes sure. One of the things that title sends out to everybody, buyer and seller, is a statement of information. It's one page. It just says your complete legal name, your birth date, your social security number, I think social's on there. Places of occupation, previous occupation, where you were born. Once they start getting all that information, they're gonna know who you are, right? So title's ensuring that on the buyer and the seller side. One of the papers that your buyer is gonna get from escrow through title is going to be vesting. How should they hold title? So whenever the buyer asks me, JJ, how should I hold title? My response to them is, I can't give you legal advice. Here is a flyer that talks about different methods of holding title. And this is really important. This is an important question that I think you should have a conversation maybe with your accountant or your attorney about. It may not be so important how you take title right this second, but it is important when you go to sell the property, how you took title right this second. So we have to be looking at the future, how you took title. So let's just look at this chart real quick. Oh, by the way, If you go to brandon-miller.net. Brandon will love I'm giving him a plug today. If you go to brandon-miller.net, that's Brandon Miller's website. Brandon-miller.net.
Straight line.
Straight line, hyphen. Brandon-miller.net. There's a link at the top of his website called resources. I'll actually do it online so everyone can see. If Jerry comes in here, he's gonna kill me. All right, so Brandon. Miller, we gotta spread the love, right?
Sure.
All right, so Brandon Miller, there's that handsome guy. That's how I met him. There's my picture up there when we met.
That's right.
Okay, so there's resources and educational flyers. Okay, so educational flyers is under resources. Now, if you guys are handing stuff out at the door for door knocking, this is a great thing to hand out on one side and your information on the other side.
Yeah, you're right.
Right?
Yeah.
Never hand out one page at a door without having something on the other side. You want to leave something of value. If you go here to educational flyers, I'm just clicking on educational flyers. There's a ton of stuff here.
But should you say Fidelity?
So so now
That's what I'm saying.
here's a
Doesn't
question.
make sense.
If you,
I think we're title company.
okay, now if you have Brandon on one side and you on the other, maybe Brandon might pay for your printing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, just asking.
Okay, we can ask him.
I think the title company's gotten a little trouble because they were giving away like concert tickets and sports.
Yeah, so you can do stuff.
They can't do that stuff anymore. It used to be like that, like title would take you out to dinner, like crazy.
No more?
They cracked down on it because the rest of the violations. But you should try, when you guys are thinking about printing stuff that you're gonna be handing out that costs money, think about who could pay for that instead of you. You might have 3 or 4 restaurants or cleaners in the neighborhood that would love to pay for a spot on your advertising because you're out there door knocking.
Oh, okay, good.
So you could actually go and approach those businesses. Would you like a space on my flyer? It'll cost you this much money. And then it'll totally cover your marketing costs. Because I've been there, I was paying, when I was printing flyers, and for flyers, it starts getting expensive. Okay, you have to buying toner, buying ink, buying paper. And then the printer dies, you have to buy another printer, right? But look at, there are these great marketing things. So I'm just showing you resources, educational flyers, and then you can use all these things. What is title insurance? Reasons for title insurance. Why do you need it? Methods of holding title. That's the one we're looking at today. Joint tenancy versus community property. How to read a plot. So there's at Lauren's website, there's stuff also. So I'm just showing it. So this one is called Common Ways of Vesting Title. So if you look at the chart, the first question is parties. So if you look at line 1, it says parties. So that's really going to be the first one, because if you're a single individual, you can instantly rule out a lot of these. It's not going to be community property. It's not going to be joint tenancy. It's not going to be tenants in common. It's not going to be partnership. It could be title holding trust because that says individual. It's not going to be community property. It's not going to be registered domestic partner. So look, if you're an individual, it can only be one thing. It can be title. It can be an individual holding trust, or it's going to be holding property as an individual. That's it, as an individual. So and then you should also tell your buyers maybe look into a trust, because a trust avoids probate. If something, when you pass away, when that happens, no one gets out of here alive. When you pass away, it's always the husband first in California. That's the law.
That's the law.
When someone passes away, if title was held in their individual name, then the property is going to have to go through probate. Probate is the process of taking the property out of the deceased's name into someone else. That process can take a long time and it's expensive.
Does that change the tax structure or no? I'll ask you, maybe you know that. In case of probate.
If it goes from parent to child, there should not be.
It should not. How about spouses? There's nobody that's what.
Between spouses, there'll be a step up.
So tax.
So the law accommodates for a spouse
Spouse, yeah.
that if their spouse passes away,
Right,
they
right.
can sell the property and pay no capital gain
No capital gain, okay.
from that time. Okay. Now, I again, I don't want to give tax advice or legal advice. From
Yeah.
my understanding, which could be wrong most of the time.
Yeah,
Let's say a husband and wife are married, the husband passes away 5 years ago. And the wife wants to sell the property today.
mhm. Right.
What'll happen is the property value will be looked at from 5 years ago.
Cool.
And then the wife will only pay capital gains on half of it
Half.
from 5 years ago.
Wow, okay, got it.
Okay, but if she were to sell 5 years ago, it would be at
At even,
even. But if she were to sell 5 years later, they'll look at the value 5 years ago. And on half of the property, she'll pay the capital gain,
So if the market went
I believe,
down
but I'm not sure.
over those 5 years, then it would behoove her to then sell.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see a lot of people selling just because they care, right? They're gonna go into some kind of retirement facility and the cost is very expensive, very expensive.
Were they tenants in common or just it was the
Tenants in
title,
common.
title was on the house?
So if you have property that's joint tenants, so let's look at joint tenancy. Any number of persons can be married spouses or registered domestic partners. So joint tenancy. And then we have something called community
what's
property,
the difference between joint tenancy and partnership, you know?
joint tenancy and partnership.
What's the difference?
So let's look at this chart. So who are the parties in a joint tenancy? Who are the parties in a partnership? So parties under joint tenancy, any number of persons. Okay, and then in a partnership, only partners, any number of partners.
Oh.
Okay, so far, so good. Division under joint tenancy and partnership. Ownership interest must be equal as
Oh.
joint tenancy. Partnership, ownership interest is in relation to interest in partnership.
Oh, okay, okay.
So if you have a 60%
Got it.
partner and a 40%
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
partner, you can't be joint
You
tenants.
can't, got it.
That's in a business, right?
Nice.
Partnership.
So this is a very important chart, because it's gonna go over every single thing. I think the really important one is death. You gotta look at the death one.
Yeah.
So let's say you have a husband and a wife, and the husband was previously married, and the wife was previously married, and they have children. And now the husband and wife marry. How are they gonna take title to ensure that 50% they can leave to these kids and 50% goes to those kids? They want to protect everybody.
Joint tenancy.
Well, I'm not giving advice. I'm just saying it's something that they need to really think about how they're gonna do this, right? Because every family is different, right? The new wife doesn't want to give anything to any kids, right?
I think.
They,
I think tenants in common have more significant lines.
tenants and, okay, so what I know about joint tenants is joint tenancy has right of survivorship, right?
Okay.
So if you have 4 people that all take title as joint tenants, last man standing is 100% owner, right? If one of those joint tenants sells their share, if one of those joint tenants sells their share, they have now severed the joint tenancy and it's now tenants in common,
Oh,
okay? Now, it could be they only severed their part. I'm not sure, because again, this is now getting into legal advice, and then the remaining are still just joint tenants, right? But their share can be sold, right? But they're now no longer, I don't know, but it starts to get crazy, and this is when that's why we need an accountant, we need an attorney involved, yeah.
how do they, tenant in common pay property taxes? They each pay 50%? You can
That's
do
a
it.
great question, and I'm not gonna answer it,
didn't know
because I'm
that.
not an accountant, right? So, seriously, we're gonna start getting in trouble if we
No, this is
pretend to be an accountant.
Personal question.
But your
from
personal
you.
question, I would advise you to ask your accountant, it's a great question. But I'm always telling people.
How come they know it either? You have to go to a tax.
I mean, I had a question here, someone said, I think your client, they wanna sell a bunch of commercial property and buy a house with it, right? If you have a client like that, they wanna sell a bunch of commercial property and buy one house. Now, someone had that, I don't know, someone had that scenario, and they wanna do a 1031. 1031 needs to be like-kind property, meaning investment property. So my response was just have them check with their accountant. Like, it's not even a question that you can answer. Tell them to talk to their accountant. If their accountant says good, you're good.
As a certified account.
Certified accountant. So I don't know the difference between an accountant and a certified accountant. I have no idea. Sounds important.
Enrolled agent, certified.
It sounds important. I don't know either. I don't know. That sounds important though. Certified. Am I a certified real estate agent? I'm licensed. Yeah.
You normally recommend to your clients, tax attorneys or things like that, or attorneys that, and then can you give us their name?
Right, so,
Yes.
okay, so I am always wanting to help my clients. Like, I feel always, I want to help.
Like you give them 3 names or something?
I've also found that helping people bites me sometimes.
No, if you give them 3 names, like 3
Right,
names.
that's what I'm saying, give 3 names.
Do you have something you can give us? We can share, cause I don't know.
Right, so I have to tell you, Yelp is a.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yelp is an amazing.
Oh, just go find.
If I have to do some kind of electrical repair, faulty repair, I will take pictures of the item and I'll send it out on Yelp.
Got it.
And even if I find someone who's amazing, an amazing plumber, amazing electrician, the next time I give them and ask them how much something is, they give me a crazy number again, right? So, I don't know, I hate to get in trouble with someone that I refer.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, you try to help and then it ends up biting you, you know, I want to be that person. But you give 3 and let them choose one, yeah.
If you have a living trust
Yes,
and the person dies,
yeah.
and how much did the son pay? The son's gonna get it. How much will ask the agent? I mean,
If the property is in a trust, there should be no inheritance tax.
What?
There shouldn't be any kind of inheritance tax on that. From a parent to
Son,
a child. There shouldn't be.
no
Now,
inheritance.
well, there might be a limit on it. There might be on the estate. But I don't think I think it's protected. Parent to child, I think it's protected. Yeah, I think that's protected.
Okay.
As long as property's in a trust. If the property's in a trust, there'll be a trustee. And there will also be a successor trustee. Who's the successor trustee? But I think if you're going from parent to child, parent to child, parent to child, the government protects for that scenario. Now, anything can change, right? So,
Legal age to hold a title is 18, right?
oh, that's interesting. I've never been asked that before. Can a minor hold title to a property? A minor can hold title to property, but they wouldn't be able to sign on it.
Yeah.
So they can inherit it,
Yeah.
but who's in charge of the minor during their minority? I mean, usually there's a parent or there's a custodian,
Like
conservator.
there's a single parent. In that case, state will.
It's a great question. The state does get involved in stuff like that to protect the child.
Excuse me, what about when it's emancipated? Because he's already like,
Emancipated minor is considered an adult.
so he can be.
They can sell it. Yeah, they
can sell
can
it.
go into a legal contract, yeah.
That stage.
Yeah, the danger that I'm seeing now is just in the elderly, you know, elder abuse. You know, I know from personal experience, when I used to go to my parents' house for lunch, their phone would be ringing off the hook with people trying to get their business, or even people calling my mom and saying, "Mom," right? Right. The elderly are targets. There are people out there just trying to steal all day long. Horrible, really horrible.
May I ask something?
Yeah,
I know when the husband and wife buy a property, it goes for two, it's the husband and wife as a 50-50. And if the husband or wife want like 100% and the other parties accepted, it's okay? Is like, is possible or no?
what's the question?
This is for example, I say.
A husband and wife buy a property together.
Together, yeah,
Okay.
but just wanna the title under one name, not both.
And they want title under one name.
Yes, yeah, it's possible.
So if anything is possible. I have seen men take title in their own name only.
Yeah.
The question is when they pass away, that's the, I mean, but look, if there could be a divorce, they can pass away, look, this is why there are lawyers, right? I don't know if there's a prenuptial agreement, like before they got married, I don't know any of that stuff.
Because I had a disclosure because other party has something in law, you know, and it's scared about the law take the.
So I have to tell you, during during 2004, 5, 6, when the market was on fire back then, I was seeing a lot of lenders ask wives to quit claim property to their husbands because they were getting the husband approved on the loan, not the wife, and the wife would give away all her interest in the property to the husband. I saw this over and over again. When I would go to, when I would be reviewing these escrow documents with my buyers, like, you know, I'm not just there to just answer any questions that come up to help them. When I would see that, I would say, stop, that's not happening. And I would call the lender, I would have them call the lender and say, I would tell the wife, don't sign that, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, if there's a seller that wants to sell or either transfer title or whatever that in a lawsuit, can they legally do that or no?
To avoid a lawsuit.
No, if there's a lawsuit, somebody sued, like let's say I'm the owner of the property, then I'm sued for whatever reason. Can I sell or transfer my property?
So from my very limited knowledge.
Have you run into this?
If someone sues someone else and gets a financial award.
No, before the award.
Before the awards, that's pretty smart of that person.
No, but can you do it?
Well, the question is you can do it, but then the money has to go somewhere. Where's the money going? So the attorney that's representing the plaintiff has to follow the money, right? So any plaintiff attorney that's gonna be suing for financial damages is trying to find out assets of who they're going after. Once there's a financial award, then they have to get something called a writ of attachment. And they have to get a judge to sign off that they can go after that property. So
if you're trying to protect your property.
You're trying to.
I'm just asking, not protecting.
Yeah,
Sometimes somebody comes to you as in a lawsuit and I say, listen, we're being sued, but we want to sell this property. I'm not gonna give them legal advice.
Transfer the property into a trust or to an LLC. There are.
Have you had the situation like this?
It's not that I've had the situation, but I've watched asset managers give presentations on asset protection. So how do you protect your assets is the question, right? So there are ways to move your assets into.
So if that property
and that trust can have a holding.
If that property sold and the money goes wherever, how are they gonna attach what? If there's no more property, they get an award. You know what I'm saying? So there's no more property.
So there's always going to be a lot more to that story, and the judge may pierce things. So just because something is held in a trust,
but how are you going to go look for that money?
It can be pierced. So that's when the plaintiff is hiring a private investigator. They're finding out where the money went, all that stuff. So it could get.
Sorry, I have one question. If someone buy the home by his name and then want to change it to trust, he already paid for and change it to put it on trust. The reason is because of if someone sue him or something. Is it easy to do that? Or?
So all that person needs to do is hire a trust attorney to get to create the trust and then transfer the property to the trust. Very
he
simple.
already have a trust. He has another property under the trust.
In the trust, it says how property can be transferred into the trust.
Okay.
It's not hard. Lauren Bolden can file that recording for you. I'm sure Jerry can, Brandon can. Very not hard to do, but whenever there's a legal question, have them consult with their attorney.
Thank you.
I have a couple that decided to buy a house 6 months ago.
Okay.
But then they decided to get a divorce these days.
Okay.
So
they bought the house? They did not buy the house.
For it, but they decided that they can't make it.
Okay.
And they didn't go to the court yet for the divorce case, but most of the earnings are on the wife. Wife
wants to get a condo for herself.
Okay.
What should I suggest her during this period?
The only thing I can suggest is talk to your attorney and ask her if there's an issue with you buying the condo right now.
He should, maybe I should warn her that he should not claim anything after the divorce or something.
I don't know, because this is tax advice and legal advice, so that's not my forte. But as the real estate agent, I want to help, right?
Yeah.
So I need just, my comment would be, ask your attorney if now's the time that you can do that and there's no issue, and also ask your accountant. And then I'm good to go. We'll go look for the property.
Okay,
That's all. I want to get the answer from them.
okay,
A lot of times the accountant and lawyer may push back and say, ask your agent. Even though we're not allowed to give, even though we're not supposed to give the answer. Sometimes the accountant doesn't want to be the one giving the information.
okay.
I imagine also if she has a personal account that is not a joint account and then uses money from that to.
So anything that is in your personal, you see people hold title as their
They
sole
would
and
be able to
separate,
go
sole
after
and
that.
separate property.
Yeah.
Right, that's their property. It's theirs. If they were single before, they owned that property before they got married, that's their property, okay? It's important when they sell that property, the money from the sale goes to a bank account, that's their sole and separate bank account. If that money gets deposited into a joint account, it now becomes community property.
Okay.
Very dangerous.
Okay.
For commingling money between sole and separate and joint.
Okay.
I've just gotta be aware of that. So if you have a joint account with your husband and you have your own property and that money gets deposited in your joint account, it's now community property.
So she uses say personal account to
Yeah, it's gonna be a sole and separate account.
funds only from that personal
Yeah.
account.
I know,
I think it,
if you ever open like a stock brokerage account or something and you're married, something's gonna have to get signed by your spouse. If there's a partnership, someone's gonna have to sign something. Just acknowledging that it's sole and separate, right?
Okay,
People are pretty careful about this.
okay.
All right, so the buyer process is you helping your buyers buy a property. You're going on the MLS. You're asking them, okay, so first of all, any buyer I'm working with, I need to make sure they're pre-approved. Okay, I'm not working with anyone unless I know that they can for sure get money together, because I could be spending 1 year showing someone property and they say, it's no problem, it's no problem, it's no problem, don't worry. And then they finally find something they love, problem. We go to write the offer, they contact their lender, the lender says, you didn't tell me about this bankruptcy 2 years ago. Or, something happened, like, it's really important that the buyer speaks to a lender to avoid any future issues.
Now, can you put them on like the campaign drip?
Yes.
That's okay?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so, yeah, so I'll show you guys, I mean, I don't know who's doing it, who's not doing it. I'll show you real quick. So in the MLS. I believe we were gonna do something in the MLS. Were we gonna do something in the MLS? We tried to, it didn't happen, my fault, sorry.
No, it wasn't your fault.
It's always my fault.
It's
I'm guilty.
the signal. Phone signal didn't work and took me half hours to reach back.
Okay, just so everyone can follow along with me, you might be already doing this, just to make sure.
AJ, can you repeat the question that she asked?
The question was, can you put your buyers, or should you put your buyers on an automatic email from the MLS, notifying them about new property that comes up? So I'm just gonna show you what that, you don't have to go on the MLS, I'm just showing you what I do. So I'm talking to someone, so this is the homepage on the MLS. So I'm asking my buyer, what are you looking for? Right? This is how I'm gonna search for it. Now, just because my buyer is telling me that they're looking for something, doesn't mean that's what they're gonna buy. I might have a buyer who's telling me they wanna spend 600,000 on this and this and this in Sherman Oaks. And then all of a sudden, I'm not screen sharing, yes, thank you for letting me know. I'm not screen sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So just be aware that your buyer may buy something they're not telling you about. Meaning they're looking for something and then they buy something completely different than what they're telling you they're looking for. That's always possible.
It's always a good idea to make sure that it's the,
It's always a good idea just to stay in touch with your buyer. That's all I'm saying, you know? That's all. So, okay, but don't rely on this automatic MLS email to be the only thing being in contact with your buyer. You need to also be in contact with your buyer. So let's just say I have a buyer telling me they're looking in Palos Verdes. Okay, so I'm gonna go search listing single family. And then I'm gonna search in Palos Verdes. So I'm gonna say, I want active property in MLS area, Palos Verdes. So I have all these different things. So I want Rancho Palos Verdes, the expensive stuff there. So Rancho Palos Verdes, active. There are currently one listing found. How can that be? Not even possible. Active. Okay, there we go. One listing. How can that be? Try that again.
you didn't have to put a price range in.
I haven't entered any other criteria. Palos Verdes Estates. All right, let's do that. Palos Verdes Estates. Okay, there we go. Boom. All right, but so Palos Verdes Estates. Oh, Palos Verdes Estates actually put all those MLS areas in there. That's interesting. All right, so now these are all the properties. If I go up here and I press save search, now it's gonna ask me to create a name for the search. So I'll call it Palos Verdes new listings. I can email the current results, which will be 30 of them. What is my subject of my email gonna be? It's gonna be MLS activity, Palos Verdes Estates. And then I can save the search for just myself or for my contact. If I'm sending this automatically to my client, I'll put my client's name here. And then I'm gonna check this box, enable notification. Okay, enable notification. And they can receive notifications on price changes, new listings, price corrections, back on market, status updates. And then I can check this box, send me a copy. Okay, now keep in mind, all I did here was press save search. That's all I did. Save search. I gave the search and name, the email subject that it's going to. I can email the current results if I want to. I don't have to. And then I'm sending that to my contact. And then I'm enabling notification, which means they're gonna get automatically, and I'm gonna send myself a copy. Send me a copy. I guess I gotta put a name in there. Myself. Send me a copy. There we go. And then I can have multiple people receive that email. And when would I like the notifications to be sent? I'm gonna check this box ASAP. It's pre-checked. ASAP. And then I will save that. If I go to advanced options here and go enable client search, it's gonna create a client dashboard. And they'll be able to search from the MLS. It's pretty cool.
Is that recommended or not?
Can do it. Why not? Sure. Why not?
Reverse prospecting.
Reverse prospecting.
It is like affecting some other agents to call back my clients,
So
right?
no. Reverse prospecting means no one's gonna ever be able to contact your client. But what reverse prospecting is, so where does it say that?
Your notifications.
A little bit of the emails.
Very top.
Available for reverse prospecting.
Uh-huh.
Okay, if that is set to on, when an agent enters their listing on the MLS, they will be able to find agents that have saved searches. So when I enter a listing, I'm gonna get asked, would you like to send this listing out to agents that have opted in
It's criteria.
for reverse prospecting? So sometimes like this could be in your marketing budget. Sometimes I'll get an email, it'll say, this agent sent you this property because it matches one of your search criteria.
It comes through MLS.
It comes from the MLS to me, and it'll say this agent is reaching out to you with this property because it matches your search criteria. They paid for that.
That's good.
Yeah,
It's good to keep it on.
that's good. So now, if you should, whatever your farm area is or whatever area you're an expert in, that you know that's the area that you want to work, put yourself on a saved search. So you always want to be aware of what's going on. Like if I work Palos Verdes, like that's my thing. I'm gonna check all these boxes, coming soon, active under contract, hold, pending, sold, expired, canceled, withdrawn. I'm checking every single box. Now I'm gonna press save search. Okay. So I want to know everything. Enable notification. Now, if I set that up, I can set that up just for myself. ASAP. Now, if I save that, every single thing that happens in my area, I'm getting an email immediately. So when I see canceled, boom, that's a prospect. I'm gonna call that seller immediately. I see that your listing was just canceled. Sorry, your other agent can do the job for you. I can't. When can I meet you? Canceled means the listing was canceled or expired. Okay, so talk about that. Okay, these are the different statuses for listings. So coming soon means there's a little gap there for marketing. I think when your property is listed coming soon first, it doesn't go out to the public. So the only way that a buyer will know about it is if their agent contacts them. It will not go, they won't be able to find it on Zillow or Trulia or the MLS website. Only agents can see it. When it goes active, that's currently for sale. When a property goes active under contract, that means that there was an accepted offer and now the property is in the contingency period, meaning the buyer is inspecting it, the lender is doing their thing, the appraiser is doing their thing. We are in the contingency period where the buyer can back out and not lose their deposit. That's active under contract. When the buyer removes all contingencies, if the buyer backs out after they remove all contingencies or they can't do their deal, they could lose their deposit. Okay. At that point, the listing agent is going to mark the property pending. Pending means all contingencies have been removed. Hold could be for anything. Let's say I have a listing and there's 30 offers. Do I need offer number 31? I already have 5, 10 cash offers, like over asking. Everyone's fighting, like the property has a maximum price, like no one, right? So do I need offer number 31, 32, 33? I'm just gonna put the property on hold while I'm negotiating with those 30 people. I don't need more, okay? So hold could be anything. There could be any number of reasons. If you see a property on hold and your client's interested, reach out to the agent to say, hey, why is it on hold? Sold is sold, right? The property sells and it closes escrow and it gets marked sold. Expired means the listing contract expired. So if you sign a 90-day listing, 180-day listing, at the end of that listing period, it's gonna automatically expire. Okay, an expired listing is something you should go after. Because that is a seller that raised their hand and said, hey, I'm a seller, nobody bought their property, go after it. That seller didn't sell. Now, there could be a number of reasons. A lot of times it's price, but you might have had a listing agent that just never responded to anyone. As crazy as that is, you know, you guys might have experience where you're trying to show a property, the listing agent's not getting back to you, right? Good question.
I hope it's not a dumb question, but
There's no double.
Do you have to check the do not call? Make sure that when it shows expired, I have to go double check to make sure it's not on.
Yes,
on the do not
yes, thank you for bringing that up, yes. Anybody that we call to solicit, we should check against the do not calls.
Oh.
Okay, canceled means there was a mutual agreement to cancel the listing. The seller and the broker mutually agreed to cancel the listing. Withdrawn means it's taken off the MLS, but a listing agreement still exists.
What cancel was, sorry.
Canceled, so I sign a listing with a seller. And the seller changes their mind, or they can't sell because there's something happened on title. The property's not sellable, or there's a gas leak on the property, it's gonna take a year.
Or
Or
litigation.
get the property got red tagged, it can't be sold now, or maybe it can, but it can't it's off the market, we're just gonna cancel the listing. Now, I don't like canceling listings, I would much rather withdraw. Okay? Let's say I signed a 6-month listing with somebody and they changed their mind on selling, they're not sellers right now. Okay, I'm not gonna cancel the listing, I'm gonna withdraw it from the MLS. Because if they change their mind and they do wanna sell, like let's say I withdraw the property and an agent calls me and says, you know, you have that property, you took it off the market, you withdrew it. Do you still have a listing? Yeah, I still have my list. My listing is still active. It's just not in the MLS active. So now an offer comes in, I can present it to that seller and say, hey, I know this is crazy, but we just got an offer. Do you want to see it?
And that's for the withdrawn.
Withdrawn. I still have an active listing.
But during the listing agreement period.
During the listing agreement period, an active listing means if that seller sells to anybody, I'm getting paid. And other agents are also protected, from the commission, right? So
if it's withdrawn, you're protected.
if it's withdrawn, there's still a listing that's protecting my commission and the buyer's commission, the buyer's agent's commission.
Canceled, you're not.
Canceled, the listing's canceled.
Canceled.
Right, so if you are actively going after expired and canceled and withdrawn, when you contact the seller on a withdrawn, you have to see if the listing was canceled or if there's still a listing involved. There could still be careful contacting withdrawn, because there could be an active listing still in place.
Right.
It's just not on the MLS.
So you have to share the listing, sorry.
Withdrawn only means it's not on the MLS, that's all it means. It's not on the MLS, but there could be a valid listing contract still enforceable.
So it can still be on withdrawn, whether or not it's still active.
Listed.
Or listed?
Actively listed, not active on the MLS, but listed. There could be an enforceable listing agreement still in place.
Okay.
No, so if we sign a listing, you're the seller, I'm the agent.
Yeah.
You sign a listing with me. Okay? We have a 6-month listing and you say, JJ, I decided not to sell. Thank you for your effort, but I changed my mind. I changed my mind, I'm not selling.
Right.
I say, okay, I'll take it off the MLS. Okay, I'm taking it off the MLS.
That's it.
If an offer comes to you 2 months later, we still have a listing agreement. Like you need to say, JJ, I just got an offer, come represent me, because I'm paying you anyways.
Got it.
Right? So we still have a listing. I just took it off the MLS. It's withdrawn from the MLS.
Should we explicitly tell them at that minute that it is our agreement is not canceled, but I'm just taking it off the MLS, or should I just say taking it off the MLS?
In that case, I will be sending a modification of listing. That's the form I'm using, modification of listing. And it's going to say withdraw from MLS, and they're gonna sign that. I'm not sending them a cancellation form, I'm sending them a modification form. Modification, not cancellation. Modification, withdraw from MLS.
So would that mean that you are not marketing but still sell?
I cannot market it, yeah.
Yeah.
No, now, there is something also called the clear cooperation policy. So the clear cooperation policy is in effect nationwide for any realtor. And it says any property is advertised to the public must be put in the MLS within 24 hours.
But when you withdraw it, it's not marketed.
When I withdraw it, I'm not marketing it. But if an offer comes in, that should be coming to me as listing it, right? Because I still have a listing. Okay, so buyer process, again. We're finding out from my buyer what they'll buy right now. What do I need to show you today for you to write a check? Great. I'm also talking to my buyer, what are the best days to show you property? If something comes on, so let's say, I have a buyer, they're on auto notification. I'm getting a copy of that MLS auto notification. Something comes on, I know my client was automatically emailed. They're on auto notification, but I want to make sure that they see, I'm calling my buyer. I'm saying, hey, did you see that property that was just sent to us? I'm calling them or texting them. Did you see that property that just came on? I'm not waiting for them to get back to me to see it. I'm calling them. Did you see, check your email right now. Something just came up. Right? That's my contact with my buyer. Check your email, check your text, so this property just came on. I think it might be good. You want to see it. Can you see it today? Right? Now, before you contact an agent to show a property, always read the remarks and the agent remarks and the showing remarks. Okay? There are agents who are not as nice as me that may rip you apart because you want to show a property. Didn't you see in the MLS it says no showings until?
Yeah.
Right. So I don't want you guys getting beaten up. There are aggressive agents out there. So before you make the call, just read. Okay, now let's say I see a listing that says no showings until Tuesday. Today is Thursday. It says no showings until first open Tuesday, blah, 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 blah. Here's my call to the agent. Hi, it's JJ Wallack, Keller Williams, Beverly Hills. How are you? I know that the MLS, congratulations on your listing, by the way, at such and such address. Thank you. I see it says in the MLS that there are no showings until Tuesday. However, I have a client who is prepared to offer you over asking right now if they want the property, and if there's a high chance that they will even come in, maybe no contingency. Can I show it today? All right, so I'm prefacing my phone call with, I read your MLS. I know that there is no showings until Tuesday. Is there any way I can get my client in right now? So that's all. That's instead of the agent saying, didn't you read, so just letting you know, always read first.
How do you access the do not call list?
Do not call list. How do you access the do not call list? So it's a great question. So you can go to donotcall.gov. I think our office does subscribe to do not call list. I actually have a link. I have to check. I actually have, there is something, thank you for, if it's not on my links, I will upload it in my shared folder. Thank you.
So in the Google Sheet you sent, if it says DNC, that means I can.
DNC means do not call.
Okay, so like all of the DNC ones I can.
Yeah, there is a website that, because it is a subscription kind of thing for do not call. Agent resources, web links. I appreciate that, asking me that question. Thank you, because the do not call fine is $11,000 per call if someone really wants to go after you for it.
JJ.
Yeah.
And a lot of agents call the do not call these and
right. So
oh, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna remove you. Do you think if most of them
understand from my position up here, I can't tell you.
I'm not saying I just learned from some.
I don't know.
But those are all the good numbers.
All I can say is be aware that there is a possible fine.
Because normally
it's a big risk, 11 grand.
No, before you even introduce yourself, why did you call me? And then you say,
right.
They hung up on them. And then if they say, oh,
I'm afraid to say anything. And then all of a sudden,
again,
you're the one.
No, I'm just saying, have you run into something like that?
I have not, however.
You don't call him yourself.
I haven't had a problem myself,
Oh, yeah.
but
You don't call
I
them.
can tell you, when Michael Rosella sends out an email to the office and it says,
He gives special names,
please
like,
add this
do not,
person to
this
your
person, yeah,
phone.
of course, yeah.
That's
a
the-
trouble. That person's trouble.
That person's freaking out.
A lot of them, a lot of.
Here's the issue that I have with the emails that go out on the do not, they say do not call this person. It's a name.
Oh, of course, yeah.
How do we do that? How do you, we need a phone number to put in our do not.
No, the name obviously,
Right, but what I'm saying is we need a number. We need a number.
yeah, he didn't give us number, just name.
Just names. So that's.
It's difficult to remember.
Almost
Yeah.
impossible.
And then, but he should say like area, like name and it is in this zip code.
It's hard.
Can you tell him though?
I have a list, there's like only 5 or 6 people. on
That's
our-
it, that's it.
On that, on our companies.
Our company.
Our offices, yeah.
Have we ever been sued for?
Thank goodness, no.
Oh, good.
But there are
I'll be the
people,
one to.
there are people there are people in Beverly Hills that are even crazy about getting mail.
Absolutely.
Like they freak out.
For sure, yes.
So, all right, so buyer process, it's a simple process, like, we're just taking our buyers out, we're showing them the property. Every property that we take them to, we're asking them, do you like it? Do you want to make an offer? That's it. Do you like this property? Do you want to make an offer? Great. I'm gonna go back to my computer and send you comps. And we'll decide what to write the offer for.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll write the offer. Now, before that offer gets written, we're doing comps. I'm also having a discussion with the listing agent. So let's just talk about strategy briefly. The question to a listing agent is obviously, do you have any offers right this second? When are you responding to offers? If I give you an amazing offer right now, is there a chance it could get accepted right now?
Right now.
I'm, depending on what feedback I get from the other agent. So, there was a property in Beverlywood. Beverlywood. There was a property that came on, that I thought my own daughter was looking for a property. And it's a very, very, very competitive area.
You need an agent?
So, yeah, so I saw a property come on that, it said no showings until Sunday, is Thursday. And I called the agent and I said, would your client consider accepting an offer significantly over the asking price? And his response to me was, what is significant? I said, I'll get right back to you. And I called my daughter, we discussed it, and we came up with a number. And I called the agent and I said, this number, would they consider right now? And he said, yeah, let's show it. So
Let's show it, right?
we had an accepted offer on Friday before the Sunday open house.
Wow.
Did not see the house, didn't tell you.
No, we saw the house.
No, showing.
It said no showings until Sunday.
Right.
Don't rely on that. Get your client in, get your client in and get your offer in. Now, if the agent says there is nobody getting into this house before Sunday, there is no responses going out until the following Tuesday or Wednesday, we're not responding to anything. If that's the case, then I don't want my offer going out until the deadline. Not until the deadline.
Yeah.
Because let's say I give my over asking amazing offer now. On Sunday, when that agent is showing the property at the open house, other agents are coming in.
They're gonna use
saying, we love this house, we have to get it. Where do we have to be to get it? Everyone's asking, where do we have to be? What's the number? What's the number?
Let's say we have an offer.
So my offer is already here.
Right.
The agent says, well, you need to be at least at this number.
Yeah.
Now he's shopping my offer.
Yeah, he's shopping.
Yeah.
Is there an ethics thing around that?
No. Because there's no ethics thing, because in the possible representation of more than one buyer or seller form, the last paragraph says confidentiality.
Yeah.
Nothing's confidential.
Yeah.
So you can walk in my open house and I can say, I have an offer from Rob Lowe and he's paying this much money for the amount of days. I can tell you everything.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it did have to be confidential.
Nope.
No.
The only way to get confidentiality is to have a confidentiality agreement signed by the other broker, the other agent, us, the buyer, the seller. It has to be signed by everybody before we present our offer. Because if we present our offer with a confidentiality agreement, no one's agreed to it yet.
Right.
Right?
What do you think over asking price? You want something arrogant and it's a nice property, you gotta go way over asking price.
Well,
I have already,
everything comes down to everything comes down to comps.
but the come in this case, I mean,
But anyone can ask whatever they want, so it's always about the comps. It's always about comps. Now, when it's always about the comps, how do prices go up? Because appraisers can only give an appraisal based upon past sales. So how do prices ever go up? How do people get loans on property?
Demand.
It's cash buyers.
what if they say that,
Cash buyers raise prices.
what if they say that over asking price, no contingency, no appraisal contingency?
You're negotiating now to get an accepted offer, right?
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
that's part of the game. That's why people hire us. Because we need to talk to the listing agent and find out what we have to do to get our offer accepted. Right? So you're finding out how much you need to go to get your offers. Yeah, this is the negotiation part. Okay, so we are calling the listing agent, we're finding out what's it gonna take. Can we get an accepted offer today? Let's say they're looking at offers right away. There's an open house Sunday. Today's Thursday. I wanna ask, if I write an offer, so automatically offers have 3 days before they expire. 3 days at 5 p.m. That's when my offer will expire. But today's Thursday and they're having an open house Sunday. I want to get my response before the open house. I don't want to wait for other people to come in and have that agent shop my offer, right? So I'm gonna shorten my expiration date. I want to have an answer by Friday at 5 p.m. Okay, so I'm gonna get my offer out right now. My offer expires Friday at 5 p.m. because I want to try to get a deal. I need to get them to respond. So I'm telling the agent, I just submitted an amazing offer to you. My buyers really want a response by tomorrow at 5 p.m. Thank you. And then there's gonna be a response. Now, if something comes back to us at Friday at 5 p.m., a counter offer, I have to get my buyers to immediately, it may not be acceptable, it might be a multiple, or it might not be a multiple. If there's a technique for agents to use that it can't be accepted. On a regular counteroffer, it can say, it doesn't have to have a price, it can just say to be highest and best on a regular counteroffer. Then the buyer still has to put a new counteroffer together for a price. So there's ways to handle every scenario.
Why wouldn't somebody with a loan offer a lot higher thing? Because if you put a lot of down payment,
Again, this is just about negotiations. So you're having a conversation with listing agent. I have the best buyer for this property.
but not necessarily cash buyers. It could be loan, right?
It could be a loan, sure. Why not? I mean, some sellers only care about the number.
No, I'm just saying, you said only cash buyers increase the value, but it could be a loan.
Cash buyer, right, cash buyers increase the buyer, but the lender may not want to lend if there's no comps.
unless you pay.
It's up to the
The
lender.
lender said if you put a high down payment, because I went over.
Yeah, that will help. Yeah,
You're
that-
dealing
that is
with
another
a
scenario.
very competitive area.
Someone is putting down.
There's no property, but they want to grab it at any price because there's no
So the
property.
lender will lend 80% of the appraised value. So as long as the buyer is putting enough money, yes, they'll make the loan, yes. Yeah.
Are we supposed to submit all received offers to the seller
So
or just the
So
highest
the
one?
code of ethics
Okay.
says that all offers should be presented as soon as possible to the seller.
Right.
If the seller gives you in writing instructions not to.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to. It says in writing, which could be an email.
Right.
Yeah,
So if it expires on day 3 and they sign it on day 4, what's the situation?
okay, so. The situation with dates is. Because some buyers and sellers are gonna really care about the dates, some aren't. I always look at dates as a courtesy. I look at that. Here's the situation with a date. The date, if the other party accepts it after the expiration, then the other party has to ratify it. Right? So if I write an offer today for $1 million even, and it expires Sunday at 5 p.m., and then it gets accepted on Monday, it's not binding on my buyer until my buyer accepts that it was accepted, and they have to ratify it. So they're gonna initial it that it was accepted. And then put their money, they basically ratify the contract. So, yeah.
And then so for that and most other things, weekends count as days?
All days are calendar days, except for the deposit. All days are calendar days, except the deposit, which is business days.
Even holidays?
So the performance of an act can't fall on a weekend or holiday. Performance of an act would be a contingency removal. That's performance of an act. I hereby remove my contingencies. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so again, back to the process. We're writing an offer. That offer is going to either get accepted or countered. Then we have to take that back to our buyer. What do you want to do? And when we're trying to get a number out of our buyer, keep in mind, there can be only one buyer for this property, right? So I want to push my buyer. If we're in multiple offers, I need to push my buyer as high as they'll go. I don't want them being mad at me and then starting to use another agent because I didn't get them the property, right? So if we offered, say, 650,000, counter offer comes back highest and final, highest and best. I'm saying to my buyer, if someone else gets this property for 700,000, are you going to be upset? Yeah, I'll be upset. Would you pay 700,000 for this property? If the property sells for 705, would you have bought it at that? I'm gonna push their limits until they tell me I can't go any higher than that. That's my highest. That's the number I'm putting. Right? So that's how I push them. I just ask them if they'll be upset if another buyer gets it for that price.
You say highest and the best.
So I don't like to use the word final.
Highest and the best?
Highest and I counter highest and best. Oh, I like highest and best instead of highest and final. You can count
highest and the best.
Final. Yeah.
No, because then that's their responsibility, not yours.
If they decided they're top dollar, then it's out of my control. Right? I did my best to get them to their highest number. I just don't want to be fired. I don't want them to say, JJ, we like you, but sorry, we're using this other agent, right? I don't want that to happen.
Right.
So
you will counter everyone.
If the buyer loses out on 3 properties in a row, they're going to be
upset. Counter to everyone. You saying? If you say highest and the best, you may get a counter.
So there's different strategies.
It has to be, okay.
There's different strategies for a listing agent. So a listing agent strategy could be that the highest offer that comes in will get countered highest and best. The lowest offer that comes in may get an actual number higher than the highest offer. Got it. Right? So that's a strategy.
And then you're going to teach a class as far as how to respond those if you're
in our counter offer class. Yes. Okay. Yes.
How we can communicate the acceptance of an offer to the buyer in writing or by phone?
So an acceptance of an offer and a close of escrow are always a phone call. Always.
Yeah.
That's a happy moment, right? So that moment, I want to share that over a voice phone call with my client. Yeah, I don't want a cold text message, congratulations.
This communication is between 2 agents, like the seller's agent or inform the buyer's agent.
It's really important to have a good relationship with the other agent, with any other agent, because you're going to run into them in the future.
Sure.
You're going to need them in the future. So even though you're so upset that they went with their own buyer, you still have to, say congratulations. Let me know if something can I be backup? Can I be the backup offer? But maintain your relationships because everyone's in this business, for the long term. Okay, I handed out something called Buyer's Investigation Elections. This is a pretty thorough sheet about all the different inspections that can be done. It's not a required sheet, but it does give a buyer the chance.
Ideas.
If you are ever dealing with a buyer who is litigious, they like lawsuits, I would probably not work with them.
Really?
Myself, yeah. I don't want to be in any lawsuit.
No, but they're not gonna sue you, they're gonna sue them.
They're gonna sue everybody.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So if anyone starts telling me about this lawsuit they're in, that lawsuit they're in, I will refer that to another agent and get my referral fee. I would prefer not to be losing,
Somebody
losing
else,
sleep every night for. a
somebody else in
year.
trouble, you get it.
I don't wanna lose sleep every night, like in a lawsuit, like for what? So,
No, but will we have coverage? I mean,
so if you're dealing with someone who could be litigious, right? This is a great form to give them during their buying process. And it basically, try to get them to sign it, okay, that you gave it to them. And have them check the inspections that they want to do. You can always come back to this form and say, I asked you what you wanted to do, I advised you all these different inspections were available. These are the only ones that you wanted to do. I told you all these inspections were available. Okay, now. Let's just go through them real quick. So number one is gonna be anything you guys are helping. General home inspector. The general home inspector goes through the house, under the house, on the house. Tell the general inspector if there's a pool, find out if he does pools or not. Wood destroying pest is the termite inspection. He's gonna check for termites. He's gonna check if there's any rotted wood. He's also gonna check the showers on the ground floor of a house to see if they leak underneath, because that wood could be rotted. That's part of the wood rot. If there's a chimney in the house or more than one, there's a chimney inspector that could put a camera up the chimney, make sure there's no fire hazard, that the chimney's working. An electrician might be someone that I'm calling after the general home inspector. Yeah.
would you say to your client, to your buyer, listen, this is a home with a TLC, you might run into, you ever mention that, hey, listen, this is that type of a home?
Right.
And give them this, listen, if it might be some problems that we're gonna run into, they might not, may or may not give credit. If you disclose that, does that take you off?
The only thing I'm saying is like every property is different. Every buyer is different. So you might have a buyer that is buying a tear down and, right, and then they change their mind.
Oh.
What happens then? They bought the property because they were gonna build a brand new thing on it. But then they decided not to because they can't get a construction loan now. So now they're gonna fix it up just to move in. And now they're finding out all these things that are wrong with the property.
So, but are you gonna be, that's what I'm saying, is the.
I'm always advising I'm always advising the buyer to do a general.
To go general, okay.
They have to do a general inspection. I am right now in a deal where my buyer doesn't want to do an inspection because he doesn't want to spend the money. And he's managed property for many years. And he thinks that he's qualified to go around and just say, what's the worst that can happen?
You get a signature from him, listen, I disclose this.
I'm sending out disclosures.
Disclosure.
And I'm gonna have to send.
And those are different forms, not this, right? Or what is
this? So there's a disclosure form that goes to the seller
Seller.
that says, these are the disclosures that you're required to fill out. This is one that can go to the buyer. It's not a required form, but it can go to the buyer saying, these are all the inspections that are available.
What else would you give to your buyer that doesn't want to do general inspection?
Fire inspection waiver.
There is a waiver.
Waiver, okay.
Okay, so there's a form called buyer inspection waiver.
Got it.
That says brokers always recommend inspection.
Got it, exactly.
And if you don't want to do one, these are what you're waiving. And they're gonna be checked and he's gonna sign off on that. That will protect you. But I am also gonna give this one because it's added stuff.
Got it.
This is to strengthen the situation, but are we giving this before the inspections or after the first general inspection?
During the inspection period.
During the.
I give it as soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
But it's not a form that's often used. I wanted to show this to you.
No, this is great.
So you're aware of all the
stuff
that there are. So let's just continue to go through them. So electrical, heating and air conditioning, that's a specialist item. Lead paint. So most paint that was before 1978 contains lead. Is that, there might be people that have issues with that. The plumbing can be incoming water and outgoing waste lines. So there's two things with the plumbing, the incoming water and the outgoing waste.
You haven't checked the CD line, whatever leads to the CD line?
That's a sewer line. Yes, so that we're gonna get there. So square footage. This is an important one. Just because the public records say a certain amount of square footage doesn't necessarily mean that's the square footage. When the appraiser comes, he's gonna measure the property and that could be different. There might be also issues with permitted and unpermitted parts of the property. So there's another advisory called the square footage and lot advisory. So that's gonna be part of our disclosures. But The appraiser is the one that should be measuring the house.
Is it appraiser or the property surveyor?
So a surveyor is an additional thing, it's gonna cost you probably $4,000.
$4,000, yes.
And they're gonna go and survey the property. Yeah.
Make sure where the line ends and everything.
Yeah. But you could easily take a tape measure and just measure it around the house.
Around the house.
Just see what the maximum square footage is on a single story. On a 2-story, I don't know how they calculate it. Well, because there are some cities that where the stairwell is.
Right.
They'll calculate that extra floor space
Got
as
it,
if
got
it
it.
was, as if it was solid. So some do and some don't. Yeah, I don't wanna get into that, but a structural inspection, you might have a property that has cracks everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? You might need a structural or anything on a hillside. I might want a structural or geological, I don't know. Easements, encroachments, these are things that you should be looking for. Foundation, slab, lot size, boundaries, pool, spa, roof inspection, sewer inspection. Always do a video sewer inspection. Put a camera down the sewer line, make sure that there's no roots coming in, there's no sewage leaking into the dirt. Septic, property could be on a septic. There are a lot of properties that aren't attached to the city sewer. There's a giant pit that all the sewage just goes into. Wonderful. And that septic tank has to get pumped. And there are companies that come and they stick a hose and they pump everything out every couple of years. Yeah.
Do you normally advise them during this period to go check to make sure they can get insurance for the property or no?
Yeah.
At that time, right? At that time.
Number 39 says insurability.
Oh, 39, they got it.
Yeah, so I mean, everything is pretty much on here. Survey, a tree and arborist. There could be trees that are infected on the property, like you never know. If there's a well on the property, some properties have wells for the irrigation.
Yeah.
Right? I wouldn't even know who to look for that, so I would go on Yelp and I would look for well digger, well inspector. Radon gas, this is not a thing here in LA. It's huge on the East Coast. Radon.
Around Torrance.
In Torrance, they have radon. So
the oil well?
Because the oil wells, yeah, it's a very high gas area. So I know that back east, in every basement, they have an air filtration system that just pumps the air constantly out. The only way to test for radon is in a closed environment. They have to close all the windows and they set radon traps, meters, detection. But I mean, it's not here, just in Torrance has that, that's scary.
That's a great form.
Formaldehyde, asbestos, methane gas, mold. There are some agents who say that's the most important inspection, mold. There are some agents say that. They always do a mold inspection. I have my
lawsuits, right? Lawsuits.
Lawsuits, anything can be sued for.
No, I'm saying, I mean, mold is
a biggie.
Yeah.
The thing with mold is it can be behind the walls and you can't see it. That's the problem.
Or sometimes they paint it over.
Right.
Yeah.
They always paint over it.
Yeah.
I have a very, very, very thorough inspector.
Inspector for mold.
I still had a mold inspector come and he found moisture on walls that there should not have been moisture.
After immigrating, I got infected with the mold for the first time. That was like really bad, 3 days. And then it's got infected because of that.
Yeah, I mean, there are different types of mold. Mold exists in our environment, but it grows on drywall. Drywall can harbor mold, so. Permits, check permits, public records, zoning, government requirements, vacant land, construction financing, construction costs, availability of utilities, environmental survey, natural hazard report, subdivision of property.
JJ.
Usage, insurability, yeah.
Does the buyer order the NHR?
Natural hazard disclosure.
Who orders that?
So in our offer, we are saying who's gonna pay for it and who the company is that we want to use.
So who's, I mean, the buyer says.
I always check that the seller pays for it.
Seller, no, but who orders it, the seller or the buyer?
Escrow.
Escrow, okay, so tell escrow.
So escrow will look at the.
Handle that, okay.
Escrow will look at the purchase contract and they'll order it.
Got it.
For the condo, should we eliminate the irrelevant ones or by default, we should always check everything and send it like that to the buyer?
What are you asking?
For the condo,
for a condo,
for
you have a
example,
buyer.
sewer doesn't apply. So
Oh, right. If it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply, right.
So I
If you have a
should
condo with no fireplace, then it doesn't apply.
Okay, so it should be specific to the property.
So if you're using this form, this is not, again, it's not a mandatory form.
I know.
The waiver that, the waiver of inspection form is the one that really matters, because that's the one that the buyer is saying, I'm not inspecting it. If I'm inspecting a house, I'm always gonna do a general inspection. I'm gonna do a sewer inspection. I wanna make sure that the sewer is intact. If there's chimneys, I wanna recommend to my buyer to do chimney inspections, even on brand new construction. On brand new construction, I have, without it, most of the time, on brand new construction, I've found problems with the sewer line. Because they will put a new sewer line up until the sidewalk. But the homeowner is actually responsible beyond the sidewalk. Beyond their property line. The homeowner is responsible for the sewer line all the way until it meets the sewer connection to the city. And that could be in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
But
how do you-
the city somehow made the homeowners responsible.
But how is this, I mean, how do you cannot dig in there, you have to have permission.
You have to dig, it's $15,000. To dig up the street, cut up the street.
Cut up the street,
Yeah.
so you gotta go get a permit from.
Yeah, seller's responsibility, or the buyer's responsibility, if their seller's selling it as is, yeah. Yeah, that's why we have to do a sewer inspection.
Is there any way to bypass the digging? Can you just?
There's all different things, so you can do a
Send the
sleeve,
yeah.
they have robots that can
Robots.
actually go in and do it, yeah, there's lots of different ways, but everything costs money.
But just don't give them suggestions, just listen, it's on, you tell the buyer, go do your own.
Because you're not a licensed sewer person, right? Okay, so here we go, so we're ordering all the necessary inspections, so my goal with inspections is that the buyer knows what they're buying. As long as the buyer knows what they're buying, they can buy it or not buy it, but I've removed the fear of buying an unknown. Right, so buyers are usually fearful of the unknown, anyone is fearful of the unknown, it's just
And
unknown,
prevented future lawsuits, right?
for sure. Because we haven't.
That's the main thing.
But if a buyer knows what they're buying and they wanna move ahead, now the question becomes, does the buyer want to ask for the seller to fix anything that they found out?
Credit.
They can ask the seller to fix it, or they can ask the seller for a credit. I always recommend the seller crediting the buyer and not having the seller fix it. Have the buyer fix it after they close escrow. That's usually the best case, because the seller's gonna wanna do it as cheaply as possible. It's never gonna be good enough for the buyer. If it breaks and the seller does it, they're gonna be calling the seller after close of escrow, hey, it broke. The vendor that the seller hired may say, hey, my warranty's not transferable. You never hired me, right? So it's always best that you get a credit, let the buyer do it, they'll do it. And the buyer, if the buyer's not satisfied, they can call the person that did it, call him back, keep calling him back until it's done right. Okay, so now the buyer is still able to get out of escrow without losing their deposit during their contingency period. Okay, contingencies have to be removed in writing. What is a contingency? It's the ability of a buyer to back out without losing their deposit. Okay, they can do that for anything that comes up during their investigation period. If the property doesn't appraise, they can back out on their appraisal.
Right.
And if they can't get a loan, they can back out on their loan contingency. Those are the three contingencies: investigations, appraisal, and loan. Those are them. And they all have to be removed in writing. Okay, so in our purchase contract, we are asking for X amount of time for investigation, X amount of time for appraisal, X amount of time for loan approval. By default, it's 17 days. I'm going to ask the lender if I can shorten the loan and appraisal process. Can that be done in 14 days? Right? I'm also asking the lender, how long an escrow do we need? Can you close an escrow in 21 days right now, or 30 days, 45 days? Right? So the information I'm getting from the lender is, how fast can we close? How long do you need for the loan approval? How long do you need for the appraisal? And I'm also asking them about the rate and points on the loan, because that needs to go into my offer. Okay, once I have all that information, I'm golden. Writing my offer, we did our inspections. Now, the buyer has a decision to make. Now that you know everything, do you want to move forward? Now, if we want to move forward, are we asking for anything from the seller? Anything that's a hazard, like exposed wires, electrical wires, leaking gas, anything that's a hazard, we hopefully you're going to get the seller to agree to fix. They don't have to, but we're going to ask for it. So that's a whole different negotiation. Here's the thing. We are asking for something in exchange for contingency removal, right? So that's the negotiation. I agree as the buyer to remove all my contingencies. If you, the seller, agree to give me a credit for X or repair X, right? That's the negotiation. If you agree to this, I agree to remove all my contingencies. Once the buyer removes all their contingencies, if they don't close escrow, they could lose their deposit. So the seller needs the buyer to remove contingencies because the seller now has to move on with their life. They need to hire the moving company. They need to move out of their house, right? They're gonna do their purchase or do their new lease. The seller can't do anything until they know the buyer's in it, and their deposit's on the hook. So that's why contingencies need to be removed. So the seller can now make their plans to move on. Because you don't want the seller moving out and the buyer doesn't do the deal. And then what? Right? Right. Okay. That's really the whole thing. 5 days before escrow closes, we have the walkthrough. So there's going to be this is called a verification of property condition. The buyer is going to come in and make sure that the house is still in the same condition, the contract. I'm not going to cancel the escrow if something's wrong. We're still going to try to close escrow. But let's say the buyer walks in and there's some damage, right? The buyer's gonna be like, I'm not closing escrow, no. Don't worry. Let's agree to close escrow, but we'll withhold a certain amount from the seller to cover the damage, right? So let's say there could be like $2,000 in damage. Let's agree to close escrow. The seller will withhold $2,000 and get it fixed or release that to you. But let's close escrow, right? Let's just get the escrow. Yeah.
So in those 5 days,
So the buyer has until 5 days before closing to come and investigate to verify the condition of the property.
right, let's say there's some damage and do we call a contractor? Does he call a contractor?
There's gonna be a negotiation now, this is a problem. This is when you're coming, JJ, I got a problem. Like, what do we do? Say, okay, what's the issue? Okay, they scratched the floor. So has the seller offered anything for that to fix it or what's going on? I might go on Yelp, right, and get a floor fixer, a flooring person. It's hard to get people out for small jobs. People don't want to come out for a small job.
No.
So, you might be giving them $1,000 fix for a small scratch.
Right.
And they're gonna be like, well, I'm not spending $1,000 with, you try getting someone out for a small job. People are not coming out, right? So this is a negotiation. Now, if there can't be an agreement of the minds, you can agree to withhold something until it gets resolved in escrow, right? But still close escrow. You can't hold up escrow, right? So get the deal to close. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you got a question.
With the loan contingency, I have with the loan contingency.
Loan is the most important because we need the money. Can't close without money.
My client, buyer client.
Yeah.
He was very hesitant about the house and he was still telling me, even if the loan is approved, can we just skip, if I decide not to buy the house, can we just not remove the loan contingency? So in such a case, actually, if the loan is approved, then there is an issue us not removing it.
The only way to back out on the loan contingency is to have a letter from the lender saying we can't give you your loan.
Okay.
So the lender has to give a letter that says, based upon what you wrote in your contract, they can't give you your loan, or something comes up that the lender can't do it. So there's gonna have to be something that the lender provides.
Okay.
That's why it's really important to have a rate and points in your contract. If you write in their prevailing rate, going rate, your client's really not protected. So if you have an actual rate and points in the offer on the loan, and the lender can't do that, you could back out based upon that. If you leave it blank, it's hard, yeah, the lender would have to have a different reason not to be able to give you a loan. Because maybe that lender can give you a 14% loan.
Oh, they did.
No, I'm saying,
Yeah,
if
the
you don't
time
write
was
it, if you don't write a rate in
situation.
there, if you don't write a rate, that lender can give you a 14% loan. I'm sure they can find a way.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be hard to back out based upon the loan.
Yeah.
Make sure there's a rate, is all I'm saying.
Otherwise, the seller would keep.
Your buyer wanted to only leave the loan contingency and back out on that. It's a difficult one.
It's a different.
If you really like a property, everybody looking at the property, and you want to, I say all cash offer, then do you have to put contingency on? I mean, the appraisal contingency or no, or you have to pay whatever you feel is fair.
So a cash offer does not waive the appraisal contingency.
Oh,
A cash offer only says that the property is not contingent upon a loan.
No. But you have to appraise, we have to say what price has to
The
appraise.
buyer does still have an appraisal contingency. If you don't touch anything, there's a 17-day appraisal contingency.
Right.
So that is in effect.
Oh, that's the question.
If the buyer hires an appraiser and the appraisal
I wanna make
contingency,
sure.
he can back out on it.
Right.
Yeah, just doesn't matter that it's cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions about the process? I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Good question, John. I like that one. That was a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question because we never talk about appraisals.
Right. So for the final walkthrough, that's typically done by the agent. Correct.
Final walkthrough is typically done, I typically meet my buyer at the property and do the final walkthrough.
So my question is, if it's an out of area buyer, right?
Yeah.
Can the buyer waive the final?
They can waive it. I would probably get my client on FaceTime. I would probably just walk through.
Oh, FaceTime, yeah.
I would go on FaceTime and just
Sure.
show it to them, what's going on. I think there is a form regarding waiving the walkthrough. I just saw something last week actually about it. Do you know what form I'm talking about? I saw something last week, an actual form regarding waiving it. I think it was a KW form.
Just curious, thank you.
Yeah, so. Oh, I think what I was reading last week was that when the buyer stays in the property past closing on a SIP, on the seller in possession, or on the lease back, on the lease after sale, I think there might be something referenced in there about the verification. I think in there it says still do your walkthrough. Yeah,
that period.
there's an advisement and still do.
Second one?
Huh?
A second one, or that was?
No, it's in it, in both of, I think the SIP, RLAS, the residential lease after sale. There is something that Sarah says, still do your verification of property. Happy birthday, Ruth.
Oh, thank you.
How can you waive it mostly because sometimes 3 days before the close of escrow, you walk in the house and you see a big leaking in the thing. I mean, if you walk out, you didn't know anything.
And then the property is or is not in the same condition as when it was.
It's not in the same condition 3 days before.
No, but the question is, was that leak existing when you went into contract?
No, it's after that.
Right, so it's gonna be, you have to prove that. You have to prove that it wasn't like that.
Yeah, but.
So here's the situation, it never rains here.
No, it did happen to me. It did happen to me twice.
What happened?
Before the close of escrow.
Yeah.
The broker called me and said that there's a big leakage in the roof and we're gonna fix it. He brought his own contract. I told him, I said, don't worry about it, we'll fix it.
Yeah, so that.
I said, no, I'm using my own one. I brought somebody, said, he turned on the whole roof and he find out that this is a problem.
So whenever water is over the problem. So the issue with water is it needs to be dried out. So if you have water leaking inside of a roof, you have insulation in an attic, you have wood, it's all getting wet.
Right.
That's a mold issue that it could potentially become a mold issue. So a remediation company
Right,
needs to
right.
come in, they need to take out all the wet insulation.
Right, right.
They need to have fans, they need to.
Right, exactly,
Make
right.
sure, and then you have to fix the
You have to
problem,
fix it according to your way.
fix the problem, and then put the new insulation and everything in.
Or if you don't want, you can back out, you know, it's the change of the condition, you can back out.
So the contract says if the property becomes uninhabitable, you can break the contract.
Not, I don't think so, not inhabitable.
Uninhabitable.
No, it says the change, I called the car,
Okay.
I'm sorry, it said
No.
the change of the condition,
Yeah.
Article 12 or something.
But this is, you're talking now about a material defect. There's a problem.
Yeah, but it's still habitable, but
So
it's a big roof.
there's gonna be I don't know if you can just back out. I don't think you can just make that statement. You can just back out. There's gonna be more to the story, right?
I did back out on one.
Okay,
was
so
okay.
look, this is a negotiation now. Like the
Right.
seller, if the seller wanted to enforce you as a buyer, I don't know how easy that, like, it's not, nothing is just so simple, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, but.
But what if the seller agreed to fix the roof and come in?
No, because he may bring some cheap material, the guy who.
So if I'm the seller, I'm gonna try to get you to extend escrow 10 days while I fix the problem.
No, I'm gonna fix it.
Why no?
I'm gonna fix it.
Why no? Why?
Because you may bring some cheap material, but fix it according to you, patch it up and give it.
But I'm willing to fix it. I'm willing to fix it.
I don't trust you.
You don't trust me?
I won't bring my own one.
I'm calling my attorney, you're calling your attorney. This is what's happening.
Wow.
Isn't that
I guess there was no argument. They said, you can back out.
You remove your contingencies.
Right.
Yes,
Okay, now my attorney's involved, your attorney's involved, the office broker's involved, the other office broker's involved. We're all involved.
I was lucky, so.
And you're coming to me and I'm saying, let's try to work this out. Let's try to work it out.
Can you give credit?
But he cannot afford to fix the property for you according to his term.
Right.
You want to use the certain
So
material,
As the seller, I'm trying to find a way to make you happy
right,
and make the sale happen.
unless I have,
Is there anything I can do that would make you happy?
when you have to buy the expensive material like the marble floor.
How much are we talking?
$500,000.
500,000?
100,000. Because the roof was damaged, the marble
So
was
let me
damaged.
get my guy in here, let me just see what you're
Okay.
talking about.
That's a good.
Let's get some people in, let's get some professional estimates. And let's see, it could be that much, it really could be,
Yeah.
it could be. I don't know yet, because I don't have, the professionals haven't given me a quote yet, but I might have an insurance claim as the seller. I have insurance, my insurance company might cover this.
He went through the insurance and the insurance, my other year.
Okay.
Then give us, you said you have to pay
All
50.
I'm saying is every situation is different.
Right,
I'm always looking at how can I move the sale forward? Us as agents, we want the
Right,
deal,
right.
we want to keep the deal. Our job is to make the deal happen,
okay.
okay? So from that point of view, I'm trying to solve problems. I'm
Right.
I'm just
Right.
trying to move the deal
Make
forward.
it deal,
get it closed, And fair for everybody.
Absolutely.
Win-win.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's very wise.
All right, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. My pleasure.
AJ? I have it.
Yeah,
Are you
I'm
coming
gonna
back
stick
up?
to the 2 o'clock meeting. I'm gonna go move my car and come back.
Yeah, I'll be here.
It's 70.
Thank you.
72 sold. It's a company that sell real estate. Presentation, yes, we had something going on, if you can stay. Go for it. Hey, John, how are you? You're a friend, you always.
Yeah.
You're visiting for business. I just recently, it's like 3 months ago, I got it.
I'm just gonna pull over another.
I give you a hand on it.
Yeah, really not. But I think there's a thing going on, they're talking about it. Excuse me, and you can do it online very easy. Is it over there? I'll give you everything, man. Everything good?
Excellent. Flyers and budgets. How about you?
I'm trying, man.
Before the, I need this sign.
Before the offer sign?
Before the.
The interest rate doesn't help.
Before the offer sign.
Interest rate, interest
And
rate.
you're on.
What's up, what's
So
up?
what's going on?
Interest rate.
How are
Oh,
you?
this is.
Here. Oh, okay.
On and down. I did. Addendum 1.
So,
To the first, to the first.
Good.
They just find you the modification.
Watch my stuff, I'll be back.
Actually, then you're gonna use the counter.
like probably a few days. I had to make I waited till the following Monday.
Fill it out, it says denial.
Happy to be here. That was part of it, other offices.
Forget about it, you accepted it. It's still not complete.
Accepted, but,
The agency.
oh, that's weird.
No, it's not.
Maybe had another person or two maybe. Who else was there?
Wow. You know, 300.
So they wanted money, so I just. So now I still have to, because when I tried to fill it out.
Oh, guys, I just want to announce at 1:30, there's a listing class.
Yeah.
At 1:30, listing,
I thought it was a two.
I think I don't know.
72 sold.
It's a listing ninja. Listing like a ninja.
It's a master class 2 to 3, what's that?
Maybe that's it.
So, master class 2 to 3.
That's the one that.
Nothing except.
I don't know. Waiting to show.
Wish you luck.
Yes. Wish you all the best.
No, I'm still.
You're good. Very good.
Okay. Don't worry, I won't bring people over.
Comps.
Won't have a party.
No, it's so.
Does he want to sell first or buy first?
He want to take.
Oh, he doesn't want to sell. Oh, so then he needs to talk to a lender. Yeah, so he just needs to talk to a lender. Yeah, that's it. Right now, it's just about a lender and finding out what he can pick up.
So the two main crush streets is Venice.
Yeah, because you don't know how much he has to spend yet.
Is there any form where I can take his requirement about what he's looking for, just some general information?
I think the first question is, what can he borrow? And you know how much money you're working with?
All the bad, and there's so much going on over there. And between Olympic and.
Why are you still over there? Get out of there. I need to.
Well, you know, I've been there for 3 years and it's really hard.
Might give
to
him
move at 82. Usually when you move that late.
Small.
Yeah.
Okay, look at you.
I don't wanna do that. I don't, nobody came behind out, it's illegal.
The ranch.
You know how they are, they're so happy, you think
So
better than everyone. And
it's, okay,
ever since.
lender right away, and then we'll talk right away. It'll happen quickly, like, but the refinance cash out is gonna take time.
So busy trying to do what.
Yeah, so we have May in our office, she should talk.
That's why I asked.
And also we have a new deal with Rocket Mortgage.
I'm like, are they not?
Yeah, I would ask,
When they catch them and then they're right out, like.
I would ask Rob, I'll find out. But you have a card?
Like Peyton Barrett.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's coming, I just ordered.
Okay.
It's coming.
All right, so just text me.
Right.
Area, someone
Text me
acting.
Rocket Mortgage.
Facebook,
So
that
I'll
one.
get it from there.
800 block. He was out the next day.
God.
Because they don't keep them in. That's
Oh,
because
yeah.
they ask on.
Fire and
In the end, you know what I mean?
Not as much, didn't the thing pass when we wanted the bill? So.
I mean.
Good, yeah.
Just
Um,
like something, get joy.
When's our meeting at 1:30 or 2 o'clock?
I don't know, let me just confirm.
Okay.
So yeah, next, 1:30 or 2?
Was there a meeting earlier than this? I thought we were gonna do a cold call meeting. Did I miss that one?
Schedule says 2.
Orange schedule.
Me. I don't know.
Oh, I hope it's at 2 because I need it.
Where's the schedule?
2 o'clock?
It's in two, it's in two.
Okay, good.
It's two.
Okay.
But be ready at 1:30. There we go.
What is it?
Be here at
So the
1:30.
master class is 2:00? 2:00. Okay, good one. After listing like a ninja.
Wait, where's the coffee? Oh, you already got it.
I didn't drink any of it. This is coffee, already.
Over here?
I wanna.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm just holding.
Medium with.
Same here.
Careful, no, it's hot, careful.
Let's see if I like it.
I like it really sweet. I got one.
Do you want more sugar and another creamer?
Let me see.
Anyway, just.
Let's see. What's that?
One step challenge. Linda, hey,
How
what's
you
up, girl?
doing? Sorry, I would stand up.
You feeling bold? You're frozen in place?
Yeah, it's really cold. How'd you enjoy that? Sure. I want some, okay, what are your, because I want some honest feedback.
No.
Like what,
Hope you're
what do
sitting
you
down.
think? Huh?
Hope you're sitting down, what?
I want to know, what do you think?
Of course, I was thinking.
Good about it?
Yeah, many.
Learned?
Oh, yeah? Yeah, maybe I should follow what I do.
And was it what you expected?
I've done this time, so it was relatively.
It is when they said
Done a little bit
Why are
more.
you getting further? Come on.
Because I'm going to get
the silence.
I'm sorry. Go do
I'll be right
that.
back. What do you want, regular sugar?
Yeah, I got you, girl. Go do that.
Crazy. I know, my wife is going crazy.
You want coffee or tea, Linda?
Jennifer? Is your name going? Yeah.
Yeah, my son is.
My son.
So I don't know, hopefully not for the Yeah. I'm gonna warm my. So, I think that baby had like. Felt like.